San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, Jon and Jim. Postseason baseball is here on a beautiful day for baseball. Padres Braves game one at 5:38. We have you covered. We are at the Naughty Barrel. Jon and Jim for the next 3+ hours with Kevin Acee joining us. Marty Caswell will swing by at some point. We've got a great show lined up for you here today. Giveaways as well. So come join us. This is the place to be. We've been here all season long throughout the course of the season. We're here for the postseason as well. Naughty Barrel, we've had great food. We've got some drinks. Padres postseason baseball on a 75-degree day is going to kick off in about 3 hours, and we are here. So come swing by, and we've got you covered over the next 3 hours, Jim. Good to be back.
It's a perfect day. You couldn't ask for a better day for playoff baseball. We have Detroit and Houston on in front of us. Baseball all day long. I'm pumped up. I can't wait. I'm like, I just need to be 5:38, like right now, just 5:38, because Petco Park is going to be electric tonight. It's going to be electric tomorrow night. And this team, there's a different feel. Like in 2022, the feel was underdogs, nothing to lose, going to New York, see what happens. And then it kind of snowballed into them taking down the Dodgers and going to the NLCS. We talked about this a little bit over the last couple of days. The expectations for this team now have risen to, I think a lot of people expect this team to go deep in the postseason with how they played in the second half, the team that they have, and just how ready they are to go at the start of the postseason.
I mean, literally every single insider, this is concerning to me, every single insider at ESPN, 27 of them.
That's a little bit of a problem.
To win this series. The Padres have moved to a -190 favorite tonight, which is unheard of for a postseason game and a wild card round between two teams that were separated by just 4 games in the regular season. But here's the deal. And I have to put it this bluntly, and I said it when I was on with Fletch and Sammy a moment ago. This is a must-win game for the San Diego Padres. When you're facing A.J. Smith-Shawver, who is a good young prospect for Atlanta, but he's 21 years of age and made 1 appearance in the regular season for Atlanta, you cannot afford to not win this game. Not when we told you everything we said yesterday. Game 1 winners are 8-0 in the wild card era in 22 and 2023. This is a must-win game. You have everything set up to your advantage. You're playing at home. You set your rotation. They're throwing a guy that hasn't thrown all year tonight. You're a 2-1 favorite at home. You have to win this game. It's as simple as that. If you're the San Diego Padres, you have to win this game. You got to jump out to an early lead, and you got to go up 1 game to none. At that point, you feel good. Even though Atlanta's got good pitchers, games 2 and 3 potentially, this is the game you got to get.
Max Fried officially will start tomorrow, game 2. But A.J. Smith-Shawver, he has pitched 1 time this year in the regular season.
And he was unscored upon.
4 1/3, 4 strikeouts, no earned runs allowed. He does have a postseason appearance, Jon, which was
last year,
2 2/3, and his ERA is 10.13 in the postseason. That's just a small sample size.
3 runs and 2 in whatever innings.
But, you're absolutely right. Tonight, it feels like a must-win game from the Padres standpoint, because you kind of have the Braves on the ropes a little bit without doing anything. Like, you did nothing, and they're coming in here wounded. They're coming in here tired. They just have used, all of their bullpen arms the last couple days here, especially yesterday, going 18 innings in the doubleheader. I mean, their bullpen is cooked. They're on 0 rest. They got in last night at like 11:30. Yep. They're on literally pure adrenaline. And you have had everything line up for you exactly how you want it to line up. So yeah, going into tonight, you can't lose tonight against A.J. Smith-Shawver. You just can't. It's a must-win game from the Padres standpoint. And truthfully, even if it was a Chris Sale on the mound for the Braves,
it's close to a must-win.
It's still a must-win, because we said in a 3-game series, game 1 is so utterly important to taking the series, because the last 8 of 9 that you said, or
8 and 8. I mean, in
8
the
and 8,
wild card era, the game 1 winner is 8-0.
8-0. You got to win game 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you dream of a scenario like this, but you also dream of completing a scenario like this. And here's what I said yesterday. I don't know if it was on the wrap-up show or Jon and Jim, and I feel it even more right now as I sit here with you, that you're so well set up. I mean, they're beautifully set up. But the thing is, like, the shoes have flipped from Atlanta yesterday, where they were the team that had to get in. They were the team that were at home.
They're fighting for their lives.
They were fighting for their lives. They had it kind of set up. We thought if they win game one, they'd pitch Chris Sale here today. We didn't know he'd be hurt.
Right.
But now it's completely different. I feel like they're the team that has house money, and the Padres are the team that, they know they have to win the series. I mean, it's as simple as that. You can't win 93 games, second most wins in a regular season, and not win the series if you're San Diego. So you can't be tight. You got to be ready to go. And hopefully that's the Padres team that we see. I mean, these sample sizes are so small, Jim. I mean, this is a best of 3. This is one game. This is 9 innings. This is how many at-bats with men in scoring position. But you have to capitalize tonight. I don't care who it is. It could be Manny Machado. It could be Kyle Higashioka. It could be Luis Ariz. It could be Fernando Tatis Jr. Whomever it is, someone has to capitalize to make sure the Padres. I don't care if it's ugly. I don't care if they win the game 1-0. Not ideal. They just have to find a way to win the game.
Yeah, you got to find a way to win. The Braves do come in here with some house money, actually all the house money, where they got no pressure on them. They're expected to lose tonight. They're expected to lose this series. Every single expert has picked the Padres to win this series. That's a little scary. I never like when every single expert picks one team to win a game, because this isn't like the Padres versus the White Sox. Both of these teams are really good. Braves won 89 games. I mean, there's a team that won 89 games here in the regular season, and they're not in the postseason, and that's the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, the Braves are dealing with injuries. They don't have Strider. They didn't have Strider all year long. They don't have Chris Sale, and they don't have Ronald Acuna, but they still have some guys in that lineup that scare the hell out of you. Marcell Ozuna, Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies, Jorge Soler, who is a World Series MVP. Like, they got some people in that lineup that do scare you. But at the same time, it's like the Padres should go into this series feeling very confident about themselves. And I feel very confident about them. I know you feel very confident about them as well. And, show no mercy. Don't let up. Realize how game one is so utterly important, even though you're going up against a team who is wounded and doesn't have their best players and is injured. You got to have the mindset of, we're going in there tonight and we're going to beat the you-know-what out of the Atlanta Braves, and we're going to win this series.
Yeah, that, or you got to go into it forget about everything Atlanta is dealing with and treat this like you're
100%.
playing a team that is fully capable of beating you, which I think Atlanta is fully capable of doing. We could talk all we want about Chris Sale not being available. That's a huge loss, obviously, for Atlanta. With that being said, this is a team that's been in the postseason 7 consecutive years. Padres can't say that. This is a team that won the World Series in 2021. Padres can't say that. And the truth is, Ronald Acuna's out, but guess what? They won a World Series in 2021 without him. And they've got a very formidable lineup. It's not the best lineup in baseball, and they haven't scored at the clip they should. But when you look at Marcell Ozuna and Matt Olson and Ozzie Albies, that alone, and there's others in there, that alone is enough to do enough damage. And again, they don't have to come here and score 9 runs in a game. We don't know what they need to score. If A.J. Smith-Shawver and their bullpen are good enough, then maybe they score a couple of runs and it's enough. So to me, it's about treating Atlanta like a team that's fully capable of beating you and going into it with that mentality. I think if they do that, hopefully they come out on top. But to your point on Smith-Shawver, who made the one postseason appearance last year, he was a 20-year-old when he did it. He's 21 right now. This has got to be tough on him from 2 perspectives. You got to make it tough from a lineup perspective, and then the crowd's got to make it tough on him. You just got to assume that you're going to put him in uncomfortable positions, and when that happens, you have to take advantage. So the crowd's going to be amazing. The building's going to be electric, and the Padres got to feed off that alone and make it uncomfortable for Smith-Shawver.
That's what Michael King said yesterday. He said that, it's incredibly uncomfortable for the opposing team here at Petco Park with the great crowd that, Petco provides. And I agree with that. I think tonight you're going to see 99% Padres fans in the stands. You'll see maybe a couple Braves fans here and there, but overall, that entire ballpark will be filled to the brim with Padres fans. 46, 47 tops, 1,000 people will be there tonight for game 1 and game 2 tomorrow as well. I mean, it's going to be an electric crowd. The last thing you want to do is go down early. You want to get this crowd engaged. You want to get this crowd involved. I think having a nice quick first inning and maybe scoring a couple runs in the first against A.J. Smith-Shawver would be, it would almost feel like it would be an insurmountable for the Braves to come back if that were to happen, with the crowd noise, with the way the Padres have been playing in the second half, with the fact that, I mean, this is pretty much almost a bullpen game for Atlanta, and they're dead tired coming off of 18 innings played yesterday in the doubleheader.
We are here until 5:30. The Naughty Barrel, downtown 9th and Market. Come join us. It's already filling up. They've got great food and drinks, and the Padres play the Braves coming up at 5:30. We've got an extended show. We're with you for the next 3+ hours. Until 5:30, we have giveaways for you today as well. Kevin Acee is our Padres Insider. He'll join us coming up at 3:30. On the other side, what are your nerves like, Padres fans? 70470. Start your message with the word team. Come swing by and join us. We will hear from a number of players, coaches, managers throughout the course of the next 3 hours, as well as press conferences are occurring right now inside Petco Park. Plus, Marty Caswell will join us on Jon and Jim. Stay with us. We're here at the Naughty Barrel on San Diego Sports 760.
All right, this update is brought to you by Southern California Partnership for Jobs. Padres and Braves game 1 of the Wild Card Series starts tonight at Petco Park. First pitch, 5:38. Michael King on the mound for the Padres against A.J. Smith-Shawver for the Braves. The reason why A.J. Smith-Shawver is starting tonight for the Braves is because Chris Sale was left off the postseason roster. He will not pitch in the wild card round against the Padres. And huge news in conference realignment, the Pac-12 today announced the addition of Gonzaga to the conference. Think traffic's getting worse? You're right. We waste 30% more time in traffic today. Vote yes on G. Fix streets and speed up commutes. Let's get home faster. Let's go San Diego. Vote yes on G. Ad paid for by Southern California Partnership for Jobs.
All right, back here at the Naughty Barrel, 9th and Market until 5:30. Jon and Jim. Kevin Acee will join us coming up in 1 hour. You know it's a big day when both me and Jim are drinking. Cheers, my friend. What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
I am drinking a special brown and gold rush.
Okay.
To celebrate playoff baseball with 100% farm to glass whiskey.
Wow.
It's Frey Ranch bourbon, fresh lemon juice, honey syrup, dash of bitters, and a lemon twist. So this is a special drink at the Naughty Barrel for playoff baseball. You can come on down and get a brown and gold rush. $12 and celebrate some Padres baseball.
Or you could be like me and drink kombucha as well. This is not a special kombucha, but it is kombucha.
That's delicious. Love that.
Kombucha.
Cheers to some playoff baseball happening in a couple hours down here at Park.
So get down here again. We're going to be here until 5:30. First pitch is at 5:38. Mike Shildt has just spoken with the media, and he has commented on the difference between managing in the regular season as opposed to the postseason. So we'll hear from Mike Shildt coming up in about 15 minutes. And again, if you're making your way down, even if you don't have tickets, get to the Naughty Barrel. They've got all the playoff baseball on right now. Padres, are going to be on later on here today as well. So get to the Naughty Barrel. And again, we're here until 5:30. You mentioned in the update the fact that Chris Sale has officially been scratched. We didn't know. When we were on the air yesterday, we were led to believe he wouldn't be on the playoff roster, but it wasn't officially official. Once we actually saw their postseason roster, there is no scenario where he is put onto that postseason roster. Max Fried has been announced for Game 2 for Atlanta, but this is the thing that was outside of anyone's control. That is the advantage that the Padres have had a lot this year. I feel like in addition to being good, and they've been good, take nothing away from the Padres, they've been really damn good all year long, especially in the second half, as good as anyone. I also feel like sometimes they're getting breaks that they take advantage of, right? They don't face someone like Paul Skeens in back-to-back series. They dodge bullets with starting pitching. It just feels like another one of those examples where they have maybe a break. And then oftentimes with the breaks they get, I feel like the difference between this team and previous teams is they take advantage of it. So let's see if they can do that here again today.
Yeah, things have fallen the Padres' way a lot here in the second half where they've missed certain pitchers like Paul Skeens. They've had opportunities, like with the playoff starting here with Chris Sale being out, the doubleheader that's being played, was played yesterday. What's up? How you doing? How you doing? So there's a lot of of things that have fallen the Padres' way that they've taken advantage of, and that's what good teams do. Like if you are going to be a good team, you got to get kind of lucky. You can't you got to be lucky and good, and they have taken advantage of the things that have been put in front of them to where they are one of the best teams in baseball, truthfully, because of it.
And here's the other thing. Like, I know Fletch earlier was saying, maybe the Padres have taken their foot off the gas because they didn't have anything to play for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
To me, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You don't want to have nothing to play for a month. That's too long. You want to have nothing to play for 2 days. Why? You want to set your rotation. You want to get Manny Machado off his feet for a day. You want to get Fernando Tatis Jr. and so on and so forth. Yep. I think they had the perfect amount of time, quote unquote, off. They didn't have too much. Yep. They didn't have too little like Atlanta. It's like, what's that story? It's like, is the porridge too hot or too cold or the perfect temperature?
Yeah.
What's that story? I forget.
I have no idea what you're saying.
But that's what it is. I feel like they have they thread the needle where they didn't have too much time off and they didn't have to use Michael King and Joe Musgrove the final day of the regular season to get in.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you that the way things had gone in September was exactly how you want it to go, where you are fighting, you are playing playoff baseball, quotes, baseball, for the last couple months, and you don't have a situation like the Dodgers have had where you're literally playing meaningless baseball for a month plus. The Padres played meaningful baseball up until last Friday, and it was perfect. Like, you get to set up your rotation, couple days off. It's not a week off like the Dodgers are getting and the Phillies are getting. You get a couple days, and in baseball, a couple days to me is like everything. All you need is a couple days in baseball.
Sure.
Unless you're like really hurt. But I mean, everyone's dealing with nicks and bruises. Everyone's dealing with fatigue. It's game 162. But I can tell you what, once starting lineups are announced, once they announce both teams, once first pitch happens, that adrenaline's going to kick in. And anybody that is, got some wear and tear from 162, that like goes away, because postseason baseball, the adrenaline that these guys are going to be getting is going to be able to push them through whatever types of, bumps and bruises they're dealing with and dealing with the long 162 game season, and they'll be ready to go. I can't wait.
I'm also reminded of this, that as much as you like to think, you could beat someone 10-0, and they might, because starting pitching is what matters most. And it's like you're only as good as your next day's starter, and we'll see how good Atlanta's starter is today. I'm reminded that in game one today between Detroit and Houston, there's 4 combined runs. Now you have aces out there. You have Tariq Skubal out there. You got
Framber Valdez.
You got Valdez out there. Now you got Kansas City and Baltimore through 6 innings. There's been 1 run scored in the game. My point is this: Mets and Brewers are underway, and there's no score in the first inning. But my point is this: there have been 5 runs scored in 16 innings of postseason baseball today. Yeah. So you like to think you can do what's necessary to jump out to a large lead, but you may have to scratch a claw. You may have to manufacture, take that 1 run when given to you, count on Michael King to be really good, go to Jeremiah Estrada in the 6th inning, ride that bullpen out for 4 innings. So you don't know how it's going to play out. You do know it's a game 1. And again, Atlanta doesn't have Tariq Skubal. They don't have Framber Valdez. They don't have necessarily, whomever's pitching for the Mets today. Who pitched for the Mets in game 1?
Severino, I think.
Yeah, they don't have Luis Severino, but I'm just thinking, and I'm thinking about game 1 of a postseason. I'm not expecting to beat someone 10-5. I'm thinking maybe more about beating someone 3-1.
Yeah, and it just shows that anything can happen in a game 1. The Tigers had the advantage with Skubal, who's going to win the American League Cy Young, but at the same time, they're huge underdogs. They're the 6th seed, and they just took game 1 in Houston. It doesn't matter who's out there. You got to treat it as such, that it's you got to respect your opponent, like Shildt talks about a lot, and they do that. And they're going to respect the Atlanta Braves tonight, whoever they throw out there, even if it's a guy that has pitched 1 time this year and haven't seen him at all much. Like that does kind of scare me a little bit, because in the past, when the Padres have faced a no-name guy, it's like you rather have them face a guy they've seen a lot or might be good because they have some career numbers off him. I don't know, John, if anybody in this lineup tonight has an at-bat off this guy. Like, I looked, and I don't think anybody has one single at-bat off of A.J. Smith-Shawver.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Could be a little bit of a problem, but at the same time, I've seen the Padres this year in particular against teams and against pitchers who are either no-names or we have never heard of before or have high ERAs, and they take advantage and they eat those guys up. Like, it just, this team is different this year in that sense, where a no-name pitcher doesn't scare me as much as it would have scared me in previous seasons.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. By the way, this guy's stuff, as I'm looking right now,
he's got good stuff.
His stuff's legitimate.
Yes.
But stuff isn't what I'm most concerned about. I'm thinking more about between ears than stuff today, because the crowd can get to you, the lineup can get to you, the postseason atmosphere, everything that goes into a postseason start, I think sometimes can get into someone. This guy can throw as hard as 100. So, like, he's a hard-throwing big guy. Like, he's 6'3", right-handed, throws hard, has had success, coming up throughout the Braves organization. They've developed a zillion pitchers over the years. So it's not like this guy doesn't have a chance to be really good down the road. He does. He made his big league debut as a 20-year-old. That's rare. And he's pitching the postseason as a 21-year-old and did last year, to your point, as a 20-year-old. But I still say bet on the Padres in this circumstance. If you're telling me A.J. Smith-Shawver or Chris Sale, I mean, that's a complete 180, at least heading into the start, based on everything that we know.
And he's a right-hander. Padres this year hit 274 off of right-handed pitching. They are a completely different team against right-handed pitching. I was scared of the fact that you could have seen 2 lefties in game 1 and game 2 versus the Braves. It could have gone Sale and Fried easily, and that's not the case. So, like, everything is in the Padres' favor tonight. But even with that said, it still doesn't mean that they're just going to walk over the Braves here and win 7-0. They got to go out there and they got to execute. They got to play good defense. They got to have timely hitting, and they have to have good pitching. Postseason is all about those things: defense, timely hitting, and good pitching. Like today, Tigers and Astros. Guess what? They got good hitting. They got timely hitting, or they had timely hitting, good pitching, and good defense, and they won the game 3-1. So that's what postseason baseball is all about, and nothing's going to change with that tonight.
We're going to hear from Mike Shildt coming up on the differences now for him managing in the postseason as opposed to the regular season. Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will be here at 3:30. We have tickets to give away for Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium between San Diego State and Hawaii. We have Oktoberfest tickets to give away. Iron Maiden tickets as well for early October. So we're here until 5:30. That's when Game 1 starts between the Padres and the Braves. We're at the Naughty Barrel 9th and Market. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. What's up, man? All right, the Aztecs back at Snapdragon Saturday. It's the Mountain West Conference opener against Hawaii. Pre-game with Ben Fletcher, J.R. Tolfer at 3. Me and Rich have the call at 5 right here in your home of the Aztecs. San Diego Sports 760. In fact, we'll give away San Diego State Hawaii tickets coming up here today. We're at the Naughty Barrel until 5:30. Postseason baseball is underway. We've got one game in the books. Detroit, riding that hot hand into the postseason, as we mentioned earlier, has beaten Houston in Game 1. Brewers and Mets are underway early. Milwaukee's got an early 1-0 lead.
Royals are up 1-0.
Kansas City's up 1-0 on Baltimore right now in the 7th inning as well. So those are the 3 other wild card rounds. Truthfully, I could care less because all that matters right now is Michael King.
I know. Yeah.
Opposite A.J. Smith, Shawver. I don't care what happens in the other 3 series if the Padres don't win here tonight. So it's basically as simple as that. Win, and then I'll care about everything else, but it's contingent on them winning.
Well, I mean, I do love postseason baseball. I love baseball all day long, meaningful baseball. To start this morning with Skubal and Valdez, and you're like, all right, here we go. Skubal pitched out of his mind. Detroit Tigers are on an absolute heater right now. I love that, but you're right. I don't care the results.
I love it more if the Padres are in it.
And truthfully, the only result that matters is tonight. Picking up a win against a guy who's only pitched 4 1/3 innings this year in the big leagues. Padres are the late game, so prime time. I'm sitting here, and with the perfect weather, with tons of Padres fans. I mean, Naughty Barrel is almost completely full, and it's not even 3 o'clock yet.
Exactly.
And we've been here every Friday for home games all year long. It gets full around like 4:35. But it's like not even 3 o'clock, and Naughty Barrel is about to be completely packed.
Yeah, so make your way down here because we're here until 5:30. We have great giveaways here on the radio as well. We'll get you ready. Kevin Acee will join us at 3:30. Marty Caswell at 4:45. By the way, it's now confirmed. A.J. Smith-Shawver has never faced the Padres. Now, he's faced someone on the Padres, maybe, at some point a year ago, but he has never faced the San Diego Padres. Let's hear from Mike Shildt, who did such a brilliant job managing this team this year. He just did 93 and 69, this brilliant second half. What changes now? This is Mike Shildt earlier today. What changes now managing in the postseason as opposed to the regular season?
If you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about, from your perspective, the difference in managing in the postseason versus the regular season.
Candidly, I managed about every game similar to a postseason game. Relative to the bullpen availability. And so we obviously have bullpen availability. There's always that, marriage between, you evaluating your starter, which we feel good about Michael today. And then, once the opportunity presents itself, we'll go for it, and similar with the position side of it. We manage the game according to what the variables tell us, and we play to win every day. So for me, every day is a postseason game.
They've been truthfully playing postseason baseball for a while now, and it has set themselves up to be in a really good spot. Like, they've been playing meaningful baseball all season long. They were 50 and 50 at one point. They had to scratch and claw and fight their way to get in the postseason because 84 wins, like we talked about, wasn't going to get it done. They had to get to 93 wins. They had to get to at least 90 wins to get in, and they did that. So they've been playing their ass off. They've been playing postseason baseball for a long time now. So, yes, you're going to get some nerves. I mean, Jackson Merrill's first postseason game, Fernando Tatis Jr.'s first postseason action in front of home fans, Michael King's first postseason start, getting a game 1. There's going to be nerves, obviously, but the team's been playing postseason type baseball for damn near half the season.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good point. I mean, look at their close, 43 and 19, from 50 and 50 to 43 and 19. And truthfully, if they would have cared on Sunday, maybe they'd be 44 and 18. They didn't try to win on Sunday. I mean, that's how good they were. No team was better. They're a heavy favorite now in this series. And, of course, the winner of the series will get the Dodgers, which you can't even think about on this Tuesday, October 1st. But, yeah, I mean, everything you said is spot on. I think Mike Shildt, I'm extending him no matter what happens the next 48 hours or 33 days. I mean, he's getting extended. I don't care what happens. I just don't.
Yeah.
Everything can go perfectly, and we get something we've never had in the history of the city. Everything can go poorly, and you don't get what you want. It doesn't change the fact that he managed this group with the lower payroll off the Juan Soto trade to their second best regular season record ever. End of sentence. So he's staying, and that's a great thing for the Padres because they've had no consistency at that manager realm. They haven't had 3 and 4 and 5 year managers a ton in recent history, and hopefully Mike Shildt's one of those guys.
Yeah, and Mike Shildt's a guy coming into this season. While he had a lot of success in St. Louis, I was like, okay, look, I need to see it. Like, I need to see it. There's a reason why he got fired there, which we don't know in St. Louis. And why didn't he get hired right after that? And he came in here, and I was kind of skeptical. Like, we got to see what's going to happen. They were 50-50, and he absolutely took this team, and they just strapped on the jetpack,
right,
and they're on the way to the moon. It's just, while everything he has done on the field has been like really good, and I feel like there's not many times this year where I can think of us having to like heavily criticize a Mike Shildt move. You could argue that it's more important what he's done in that clubhouse with all the turmoil that happened last year. And yeah, for us and mostly me, the start of the year, it was a little eye-rolling, actually a lot eye-rolling, hearing him talk post-game after they would lose, and him talking about meaningless like singles or meaningless appearances when they lost 7-1. Truthfully, maybe that's what this team really did need after what happened last year. He's pushed the right buttons in the second half in particular. And yeah, he's a guy that is absolutely going to get an extension. He's going to be around for a long time. And I just hope that, after this year ends, hopefully with the World Series trophy, there's no more turmoil for the foreseeable future between the front office and the manager.
Yeah, no matter what happens, he should be lined up through A.J. Preller's tenure, which is at least through 2026. Right now, Mike Shildt is signed through 2025. All right, we'll kick off hour 3, or excuse me, the 3 p.m. hour.
Hour 2?
With much more. No, not even hour 2. I guess just the 3 p.m. hour. We haven't even done this for an hour as of yet. But we'll kick off the 3 p.m. hour again for the Naughty Barrel downtown. 9th and Market. Padres fans everywhere. 47,000 people will be at Petco Park for Game 1. Braves, Padres. Kevin Acee will join us at 3:30 with the latest on the Padres roster decisions for this wildcard series. Marty Caswell will join us as well at 4:45. 3 p.m. is next. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Southern California Partnership for Jobs. It is finally here. Game 1, the wild card round. Padres and Braves. First pitch, 5:38 at Petco Park. Michael King on the mound for the Padres against A.J. Smith-Sauver for the Braves. A.J. Smith-Sauver has only pitched one game this entire season. His second start is game 1 tonight in the wild card round because Chris Sale was left off the postseason roster for the Braves because of back spasms. He will not pitch in the wild card round. Other news in college football and basketball conference realignment. The Pac-12 announced today the addition of Gonzaga to the conference. That is huge. And scores around the postseason right now, wild card round. The Tigers took game 1 in Houston 3-1 behind a great pitching performance from Skubal. The Brewers lead the Mets 2-0 top of the second. And the Royals lead the Orioles 1-0 bottom 8. Think traffic's getting worse? You're right. We waste 30% more time in traffic today. Vote yes on G. Fix streets and speed up commutes. Let's get home faster. Let's go San Diego. Vote yes on G. Ad paid for by Southern California Partnership for Jobs.
It's showtime, folks!
Let the playoffs begin. We're breaking down the MLB wildcard round live with the faithful at Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street, leading you right up to first pitch. Now, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour maybe 2 of Jon and Jim. We are here until 5:30. Jon and Jim from the Naughty Barrel, 9th and Market. It's spectacular outside, 75 degrees and sunny. Padres fans everywhere. We're downtown. Come join us. Great food and drinks at the Naughty Barrel. All the games are on. This is the place to be, whether you have tickets or not.
Yeah.
Kevin Acee will join us coming up in less than 30 minutes at 3:30. We were just talking, by the way, about Mike Shildt and his future. A.J. Preller has commented on Mike Shildt's future. You'll hear from A.J. Preller coming up momentarily. So Kevin at 3:30, Will Brinson, we will talk about what we've seen so far in the NFL with Will, as we do every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Mark Ziegler will join us at 4:30. Jim's been talking about Gonzaga. Marty Caswell will join us at 4:45, and we're on the air until 5:30. First pitch tonight is 5:38 between the Padres and the Braves. So here we are. We're ready. We're going to cover all the angles. It's as simple as this. Said it earlier. We'll say it all day long. I think it's a must-win for San Diego. I just don't envision losing this game and feeling good about their standing at that point. Losing to A.J. Smith-Sauver at Petco Park is not a desirable result. No. So hell or high water, go win this game and then go win this series.
Yeah, and look, anything can happen in a short series. Like a short series is kind of the scariest because you lose 2, you're out. You know, in a longer series, 7-game series, you lose the first 2, you still have a chance to maybe get back in the series. It's a tough ask, but we've seen it happen before. We've not seen a team even lose game 1 and come back and win a series. So when you look at tonight, you're absolutely right. It feels like a must-win, close to a must-win game as you could possibly ask for the Padres going against the Braves tonight.
Yeah, we have lineups, and we mentioned this yesterday. I didn't expect anything of significance really coming out of it from a lineup perspective, and there really isn't. I mean, San Diego's kind of been set here. I mean, the only thing we were waiting on was Ha-Seong Kim's future. Like, we were waiting on that throughout the course of September.
And we knew that a couple days ago.
Yeah, but I mean, we were waiting on that all of September.
Right.
And I said in the middle of September I wouldn't bring him back. I just thought they were playing too well. I thought it was too much of a variable. And ultimately, he's not coming back. Preller has commented on that today as well. But, I mean, this is the lineup that you can win with Luis Ariz and Tatis and Profar, Machado, Merrill, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Solano, Higashioka is a legitimate lineup. It's a legitimate lineup across baseball that's fully capable. I don't know if it's the best lineup in baseball, but it's as good as the Padres have had from a lineup perspective in a long time. And that's the lineup they're going to roll out there in game 1 here tonight.
Well, they threw that lineup out, I think, against the Houston Astros, where Merrill got moved up to the 5 spot. And ever since then, that's been the lineup going forward. I know that in the Seattle series is when they moved Bogey back to short. And I said that day, that's it. We didn't know the future of Ha-Seong Kim. And I said, even if Ha-Seong Kim does return, that's the lineup.
Right.
Bogart's at short. Solano's in there. You move Croney back to second. You can, flip-flop Solano and Ariz to play first base, however you want it. Now with Solano kind of struggling a little bit against maybe a righty. Sometimes you might put Peralta in there, even though Solano's in tonight against the righty. Like, that's what they're going to use going forward. I don't suspect it to change at all. And I feel the same way. That is the best lineup you could have going into a postseason that you could think of that they've had in a while. I mean, it's just, I know 2022's lineup had Soto, and I know Josh Bell had a big opening series against the Mets. Game 1, hit that home run. You know, Jerkson Profar, Trent Grisham was like freaking amazing in the opening round. But as far as like the balance of a lineup, this is pretty damn near as good as you're going to get.
Here's the other thing I would say, though, as we look at this series and the pitching matchups and how the Padres have a significant edge in game 1 of the pitching matchup.
Yeah.
Atlanta's lineup is good. Yeah, again, it actually reminds me a lot of San Diego's. I think it's actually underperformed, but when I see names like Albies and Ozuna and Olsen and Soler and Ramon Laureano and Travis d'Arnaud, like it's a real formidable lineup. To me, it's very comparable to San Diego's. Maybe it hasn't performed like San Diego's has this year, but again, to your point, in a short series, is someone like Marcell Ozuna capable of homering in back-to-back games? Of course he is. Is someone like Jorge Soler capable of a 2-double game? Of course he is. So, like, I think their lineup is a pretty good lineup that arguably is an underrated lineup heading into the postseason. Yeah, they don't have Ronald Acuna in it, but that's a decent enough lineup for me.
Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right. Like, Marcell Ozuna had an amazing year. Like, he's going to finish probably top 5 in MVP voting. Top 10 at least.
Yep.
Matt Olson's had a down year for his standards, coming off of hitting over 50 home runs. And this year he only hit 29, right? His average wasn't that good. His OPS, I think, was sub 800 this season. But still, he's got pop in his bat. He's an absolute threat in that lineup. Jorge Soler, we know that if you make a mistake to him, he can hit it 500 feet. Ozzie Albies came back, had a big game in game 1 yesterday for the Braves against the Mets. By the way, the Mets have just taken a 3-2 lead over Milwaukee. So the whole like hungover narrative, oh, they're tired, they're not rested, they're hungover. Well, I don't buy that at all. The adrenaline takes over and you'll be fine. It's the pitching that matters to me the most.
Completely agree. I honestly don't believe travel matters at all. The fact that they played two games yesterday, I don't think matters, other than the fact that some of the relievers might not be available.
That's a huge thing. That's a huge thing.
Matters.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ben Fadden, for taking the 2 hours to put together the pitch chart for the Braves.
Who?
So that matters. But does the travel matter? Give me a break. They're professional athletes. None of that really is impactful. We pretend like that's impactful. Oh, they got here at 11:30 at night. Okay. They're playing at 6 o'clock the next day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So that prevents someone from swinging a bat and hitting
They do
the
this
ball.
all season long.
They do it all season long.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Nothing's changed.
So I really don't think any of it is a factor other than who is available to you. Now, for Atlanta, they don't have Chris Sale available to them. That's the biggest story in the series, the travel, the doubleheader. I do think their bullpen situation is a storyline because they used their closer twice yesterday. So I would presume he'd be down here today. But I don't think Atlanta loses this series because of travel. And I don't think Atlanta loses the series because they played 2 games yesterday. I don't think that's going to be a factor at all over the next 48 hours.
Yeah, the only thing that was consequential out of yesterday wasn't the fact that they played 18. It was the fact that their bullpen is like completely taxed. I mean, they were using Lopez out of their bullpen, who's a starter for them. Their closer, Iglesias, pitched both games of the doubleheader. You had Pierce Johnson was in there giving it up. Like, I know Fadden put together that pitching chart of the Braves bullpen, and when you look at it, the entire bullpen basically was used. And so that alone is a huge advantage for the Padres, and the fact that Chris Sale is out of the series, not pitching game 1. So it has nothing to do with travel, nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with how the pitching has matched up and the lines up for the Braves going into the series. But like we see, I mean, the Tigers took game 1 in Houston. The Mets just took a lead in Milwaukee. The Royals, I think, are still up 1-0. Sorry. Yeah, the Royals are still up 1-0 over the Orioles.
They are in the 9th inning.
I mean, you know what all those teams have in common? They're all the road team.
Yeah, you know what else they have in common? They had their frontline pitching available. Luis Severino, Tariq Skubal.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's a big part of it.
It's a huge part. I
understand. The home road thing, I agree with. I agree completely with what you're saying. Atlanta's not going to lose because they're on the road. That's unlikely to be the reason as to why they lost.
Oh man, those fans just got to us.
Yeah, but would I prefer to have home field? Would I prefer to bat last? Would I prefer to have the crowd behind me? Of course. And could it be a deciding factor? Of course it could over a 3, 5, or 7 game series. But the difference that, again, those teams have that Atlanta doesn't is their aces available to them.
Yeah.
That's the one caveat. And that, to me, is probably the biggest caveat. The biggest factor is who is available to you. And we'll see if it works out for the Padres or not. All you can have is the advantage. Then you got to go take advantage of it. I don't know if Michael King's going 6 shutout innings. Mm-hmm. I know he's capable of doing it. I don't know if A.J. Smith-Shawver goes 2 2/3 innings in the last 4 runs. I know it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing about A.J. Smith-Shawver, and I know their bullpen's taxed. They're not trying to get 6 innings out of him.
No.
They're
Like
trying
4
to get,
tops.
Exactly. They're trying to get through the lineup a time or a time and a half and then see where they are. So if you do get Smith-Shawver on the ropes, take advantage because he's not going to be in the game for 6 innings.
And I think the best case for you, and by you I mean the Padres.
Me?
Not you, John. You're not playing tonight.
Darvish?
No. Not you, Darvish. Like the Padres, like the actual baseball team that plays in San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay. They're going to want to get this guy out by like the 3rd inning.
Yeah, 3rd, 4th inning.
And it sets up a situation where
they got nobody available.
1, yeah, they have nobody available. 2, they're going to continue to tax their bullpen, especially if it's like a close game. And they're going to try to take game 1 because they got free tomorrow. But you just set up a chain effect here, a chain reaction for the entire rest of the series, right, where they're going to count on Max Fried tomorrow, at minimum giving them 7. And in a postseason game, you don't see many starters going 7. Like, it just doesn't really happen. So if they can get A.J. Smith-Shawver out of the game by like the 3rd inning, put up like a 4 spot there, get him out by the 3rd, have a 4-1 lead, get in his bullpen, tax their bullpen, that puts even more pressure on their staff and their bullpen for tomorrow to basically be perfect.
Yeah, if I was in charge of Atlanta, I texted this to Jim earlier.
White flag?
Probably
White flag?
No, this is what I would do. And I wouldn't be a very good manager, and I would probably be fired with this strategy or even GM because I'm not thinking about the long-term future of Atlanta and their players. I'd say, hey, Max.
I don't care.
Hey, Max, Chris just told us yesterday he can't go. We know you're on 3 days, but you're getting the ball. And, hey, Ronaldo Lopez, we know you threw an inning yesterday. That's your bullpen. You're throwing game 2. And then game 3, all hands on deck with the rested bullpen. That's what I would do. I think going at it by treating game 1 like, we have Fried in game 2, that to me is a risky proposition because I feel as if game 1 you could argue is more important than game 2. Why? Based on everything we've said. Game 1 winners have won 8 consecutive wildcard series. So to me, I'm throwing everything I possibly can at game 1. It feels like they're playing the long game a little bit. Maybe that works for them.
Do you think that when you look at the Braves pitching staff and you look at Chris Sale and you look at where they're at right now, is there any criticism on Chris Sale for missing game 1, or is this like solely like you can't criticize a guy who's injured?
I can't criticize him for being injured. I don't know the circumstance. I mean, I would assume it's more than a little ouchy.
All I know is soft.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, he's 18-3 in the regular season with all those innings. So
I would be upset.
like
if I was a Braves fan, I'd be like, "What the hell, man?"
I wouldn't think it's like he doesn't want it. But yeah, I mean, listen, they're not here without him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they can get past here without him.
Right. Yeah.
We'll find out over the next.
It just has set up really good for the Padres
over the next 2 or 3 days. All right, we're going to hear from AJ Preller on the other side on Mike Shildt. The job he's done, is an extension looming or not? Plus, Kevin Acee will join us at 3:30. We're at the Naughty Barrel until 5:30. Great next couple of hours lined up. We've got tickets to give away to everything. Kevin Acee at 3:30. Marty Caswell at 4:45. It's Jon and Jim right here on San Diego Sports 760. All right, hey guys, it is Jon and Jim, and we've been telling you about our friends over at Humul Casino for the last month or so throughout the course of football season, but we've also been telling you about the MLB postseason. Get there this week. You can watch all the action at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, all the wild card action going on right now at Humul Casino.
Yeah, with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m., your odds are better than ever. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting two-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $100,000 in cash.
So, again, it's the place to get for the NFL season, college football, MLB postseason this week. You need to get to Humul. Their food's spectacular. You need to check out the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. They have everything.
So good.
They also have endless dining 5 nights a week. Their endless dining options include Saturday night surf and turf buffet. They've gone over the top with perfect combinations of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, and more.
Yeah, get to Humul Casino all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live, $100,000 punch out. Humul Casino, it's fun above all else.
Baseball's postseason is underway, and we're live at Naughty Barrel previewing the action with the Fanatics. Now back to Jon and Jim.
All right, we are with you at the Naughty Barrel until 5:30. We do remind you can hit us up on the Talkback mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon next to the play button to leave a 30-second talkback. We'll have Kevin Acee with us in 10 minutes on this Padres postseason run on this playoff roster as well. What do you got?
Is there any surprises on the postseason roster that you saw this morning?
No.
Okay.
Is there for you?
No.
No.
Yuki Matsui made the roster. They got 14 position players, 12 pitchers. Brandon Lockridge, Tyler Wade, and my boy Nicky Ahmed, all on the postseason roster. He gets a postseason share, which is good for him. Yeah, I no surprises with me either.
None.
I just maybe if you're looking at the back end with Yuki, maybe a guy like Sean Reynolds, but Yuki's pitched more recently in the big leagues than a guy like Sean Reynolds. And that'd be a tough spot if Sean Reynolds had to pitch in a postseason game. And
That'd be a tough spot for Yuki Matsui, too.
Well, Yuki's not pitching unless they're trailing. He's not.
Exactly.
He's not pitching.
Or it's the 16th inning.
If they have a 1-0 lead in the 8th.
Yeah, no, he's not. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear from AJ Preller. We heard from Mike Shildt earlier about how basically he's been managing like it's the postseason for the last month or more. AJ Preller was asked, I'm not sure if the question's in here or not. He was asked about the job Mike Shildt has done and if an extension could come from Mike Shildt. This is AJ Preller earlier today.
Yeah, Shilt's been incredible. I mean, he's been great. Like, obviously, I think, I think when I think the last couple of years just getting to be around him, see him, he's been around the team. So he had a really good feel for our group, our team. Obviously, we made some changes to the roster, but we still have kind of the core group of players that are here. I think the ability, just from a fundamental standpoint, he does a great job kind of, with our players that understand like the impact of some of the little things that lead to winning. But I think it's just a daily reminder that he's able to connect with our players on and make it important to them, in terms of teaching the game, winning baseball, the fundamental standpoint, offensive baseball. And I think we've played together as a group, and that's a big part of what you're hoping for from your coaching staff and your manager, is to get like a talented group and have them play together. And, whether it's the first inning, the 7th inning, the 9th inning, it's a group that has no quit. And I think that's just really in large part to Mike and the staff. And, we'll obviously get to, like anything, when we get to hopefully a long run here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll start looking forward, but he's done a great job.
The one thing about what are you doing?
Well, my computer's going to die in 5 seconds.
Okay. So
I have to plug it in.
Yeah. Do you want to use
I want to use that. I want to use this.
Okay. Do you want me to use this right here? Hold on.
What is that?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Trainwreck radio. Here we go. Okay.
Yes.
Here, plug this
What do
in.
I need to do?
Take that out. There we go. Plug it in.
Okay.
Great.
You can do the show.
I could do the show, but you're like I'm trying to help you. There we go.
Perfect.
All right. Perfect. You good?
I think.
Are we good? Are we charging?
We're good.
We're charging.
Good. See?
We're great.
Maybe next time we just do that at a commercial break.
Maybe you should do it
Yeah.
at a commercial break. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. What was I saying? I was saying that
Preller Shildt.
Oh yeah. So after 2022, I thought with Shildt and Melvin and Grupner and Peter and like that core group right there, that was going to be around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's not. Melvin and Preller, they couldn't figure things out. They had a horrible relationship.
Yep.
We know the tragic passing of Peter Seidler. Now, once again, I feel the same way as I do in 2022, but even more so, I feel like that's not going to blow up in our face. I don't feel like Shildt and Preller are going to have a rift here next season.
Right.
I could be wrong.
I agree.
Everything, I could be wrong, but I just feel like it's different with those two guys, that they're going to be able to work together, that they are going to be able to not have any rifts between them. And hopefully you can get a situation here where the manager and the general manager are in lockstep for not just one really good year, but for like 5 to 8 seasons of really good, consistently good baseball. Like, can that happen here in San Diego with Shildt and
yeah,
Preller?
I mean, that's a long time, I hope. And I'm not worried at all about it. I'm really not. I'm not worried about anything.
I'm not either.
I'll eventually be worried about next year, and I think they'll probably be well-positioned next year. All the concern that we've seen so much the national narrative, is this sustainable and all this stuff. It is, because AJ Preller's very creative. I mean, he's fallen on his face at times, but he's also produced some winners like 2024 and 2022. And you look at the history of the San Diego Padres, there's not a lot of winners. And he's actually won at a good clip compared to his predecessors. A pretty good clip. Now, is he waiting for a World Series appearance for the first time since 98? Yes. And would he like to win one? Of course they would. But, I mean, he's done when you look at it all, he's done a fine job. And when you look at it in the here and now, you could argue he's done a very good job. And I think a lot of people probably around baseball are very high on AJ Preller right now, would be my guess. Lowering payroll, putting together a 93-game winner that's capable of making a postseason run. Who wouldn't be high right now on AJ Preller?
He should feel very proud of what he accomplished this year, coming into a season where his job potentially was on the line. And the turmoil that happened last year with him and Bob was not good at all. The team, just completely underperformed. But he has pulled all the right strings this year to where every single move that he has made essentially has worked out in a positive way for the Padres. And now you have a 3-year run. Hopefully this culminates with the World Series this year, but a 3-year run, 89 wins, 82 wins, 93 wins. That's a damn good 3-year run, if you ask me, with 2 out of the 3 years you make the postseason. And hopefully this year turns into like a World Series run. That would be considered easily the best stretch of Padres baseball in the history of the franchise.
Well, and 3 out of 5 for the first time ever. Yeah, 2020 was weird. I mean, they're high and low. I mean, 2020, good. 2021, bad. 2022, good. 2023, bad. 2024, good. We don't know what 2025 is going to bring. But, man, I mean, A.J. Preller, you got to consider everything when you think about it. The Dodgers, I just read an article about it, are playing a different game with payroll than basically everyone else other than the Yankees. They're guaranteed billions in TV revenue that other clubs aren't guaranteed, including the Padres. The fact that the Padres could finish within a couple of games of LA with 0 TV revenue, and the Dodgers are clearing
Right.
$330 million this year in TV revenue. Think about that. The difference between the two teams in TV revenue is $300 million. That doesn't exist in other sports. And the Padres somehow, and A.J. Preller deserves a lot of this credit, are in contention with a team like LA.
Yeah, they absolutely
in the
are.
same year where LA has unlimited money and you have limited resources, you are playing the same game, so to speak.
And this is a roster. Like, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves about 2025. It's about the here and now in the postseason, but you got a roster that the core group of guys is going to be around next year. Like, you got to worry about what you're going to do with Profar and so forth and the bullpen pieces, right? Pitching staff, they're all returning. Majority of the lineup, all returning. Jackson Merrill has turned into an absolute stud. He's going to be here for a long time, along with Manny and Toddy and so forth. I just think that this thing is set up for years to come.
Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, joins us next. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Southern California Partnership for Jobs. Padres and Braves, Game 1. It's finally here tonight at Petco Park, 5:38. First pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres against A.J. Smith-Shawver. The reason why he is starting for the Braves is because Chris Sale was left off the Braves postseason roster due to an injury. He will not pitch in the postseason, wild card round for the Braves. Other scores happening around baseball today as the postseason gets underway. The Tigers took down the Astros in their Game 1, 3-1. They have a 1-0 series lead there. Royals on top of the Orioles, 1-0, bottom 9. And the Mets lead the Brewers right now, 3-2, bottom of the third in Milwaukee. Think traffic's getting worse? You're right. We waste 30% more time in traffic today. Vote yes on G. Fix streets and speed up commutes. Let's get home faster. Let's go San Diego. Vote yes on G. Ad paid for by Southern California Partnership for Jobs.
All right, Kevin Acee's our Padres Insider. We're 2 hours out. Game 1 of the postseason, Petco Park. Padres and Braves. Michael King, A.J. Smith-Shawver is the matchup. And Kevin, it's finally here. It is October. So let's just start with the postseason roster. For you, is there any surprise in terms of who's on it or who's not on the postseason roster for the Padres?
Almost zero. I thought maybe Yuki Matsui would not, and they'd go with maybe like Sean Reynolds, but no. Not any surprise. I mean, they've had this roster. This roster's been winning, and there was really they have all their bases covered. I mean, as much as they can, they have all their bases covered on situational stuff. I'm not surprised.
Were you at all surprised by Michael King getting the Game 1 nod here for the Padres?
Only because you got a potential tone setter in Dylan Cease, right? But if you and the hints were there. The way they talked about consistency, the way they lined up so that if he did not have to pitch Sunday, Michael King would be, rested and ready to go in Game 1. It seemed like, if I had to put my money at the end, it was going to be on Michael King. But that whole Dylan Cease looming out there is like, that's if Dylan Cease is on, like that's almost like you got your own Chris Sale, but you don't know about that. Plus, this then I think has, and this is their thinking to a certain extent, is not only did it line up, not only is Michael King the more consistent guy, but you get this done in 2. Dylan Cease pitching Game 1 against the Dodgers, and so that's a good thing.
No doubt about it. Kevin Acee's our Padres Insider, back with us on Jon and Jim. So how could they use Yu Darvish in this series? Obviously, if something went wrong with the starter, he's available as a longer guy who's built up. But is there a scenario where he could enter the realm as one of your leverage relievers if necessary?
Certainly there is, and that would be like you're in Game 3 and guys have had to go 2 days in a row. Other than that, their bullpen is just so deep, don't you think? That. Why would you? Especially since you don't really know. Use a starter, and you know what? He can have some rough first innings. I mean, and a lot of times he's able to work out of them. Certainly it would have to be a clean situation where they're not going to bring him in with guys on base unless, like I said, it's Game 3 and it's the other guys threw 24 pitches apiece each of the first 2 games. It's a nice luxury to have, but it's also then like, hey, I think he's on this roster because we got this guy who could cover us for whatever we need from him. They really would love to have Yu Darvish pitching on rest in the NLDS.
Kevin, when you look at tonight's matchup, without Chris Sale for the Braves, a guy that's had 1 start this year in A.J. Smith-Shawver, does it feel as close to like a must-win scenario because of who they're facing? And if you go down 1-0 in this series, while Max Fried isn't like, Chris Sale, he's still very, very, very good.
Yes. Yes. Look, that's how we have to paint it. That's how we have to look at it. I am going into tonight's game going, look, I don't know that I recall ever one team having more advantage than another, like on paper, right?
Yeah.
But you go, it's baseball, anything could happen. So then you have to say, okay, then if they lose today, it's playoffs, baseball, anything can happen. It's not like the series is over. But I would definitely say that the momentum, the favor switched to the Braves in a huge way. Huge way, yes.
Kevin Acee is with us right now, our Padres Insider. We found out recently, I don't know when it was, that Ha-Seong Kim was officially out, obviously, for the Padres here in 2024. Do you know more particulars there in terms of what was misread? Because initially we were led to believe he may return within 10 days, and now it's been weeks upon weeks, and we don't know if we've seen the last of him at this point in a Padres uniform, right?
Well, we've been saying all along, and look, these small little labrum tears, a lot of times can be something that can be 2 weeks. They said all along 2 to 6 weeks. They sort of changed it 2 to 8 weeks. But they said all along could be end of the season, could be what was misdiagnosed was Ha-Seong Kim going to be able to play shortstop or second base with this. You know, Fernando Tatis Jr. played with something probably worse than it. Now, I'm not just saying, a lot of times individuals play a big role. I'm not making any judgment at all about Ha-Seong Kim. I am saying, like, it just differs guy to guy, injury to injury, because he did see a number of doctors, and they hoped and believed that there was a possibility that he could come back. So I don't know if misread as much as, like, you know, it just didn't work out for Ha-Seong Kim. And I don't know if he'd been able to play third base. I'm just saying I feel like, and this is educated speculation, I feel like Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis Jr. would be playing right now.
Kevin, Padres have a 1-run lead tonight in the 9th inning. Who's their closer?
Robert Suarez is all the indication now. Maybe left-handed batter coming up, possible, but I mean, it's not like this is, you know, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, or Kyle Schwarber, or Bryce Harper. But right. Every indication is that Robert Suarez is their closer. They have allowed, based on talks that, you know, in discussions I've had with other people, and then on the record conversations, they have, you know, allowed that, hey, yeah, we've got these other two guys, and we'll see. But all of what they've done is, since Robert Suarez has struggled, is have Robert Suarez be in the role of closer. The only time it has not been was that against the Dodgers, when Robert Suarez, I think it was the Dodgers, no, it was the White Sox maybe, where Robert Suarez had thrown 27 pitches the night before or something. And he wasn't going to pitch that night anyway. So, and then Tanner Scott came in to face Ohtani once. And that made all the sense in the world. But, like, it's been Robert Suarez all along.
Kevin Acee is our Padres Insider. He's with us right now on Jon Jim. The only time in Fernando Tatis Jr.'s career we've seen him in a postseason game at Petco Park was the series against St. Louis. He was 5 of 11 at the 2-homer game. Do you have any sense, Kevin, in your dealings with him in the weeks since he's returned, how much he's kind of relishing this? I mean, even in 2020, there were not fans there. I guess there were back in Texas, right, for that second series against the Dodgers. But, I mean, he's 6 years into his career, and tonight he's playing in front of home fans in a playoff game for the first time ever. Any feel on what this means for Fernando Tatis Jr.?
He's a big game guy who wants to be a big game guy, right? So, like, he's pumped. I do think he's pumped enough that he's trying to make it like it's not, right? And so is everyone else around him. Like, you ask anybody around the team, and they, for the most part, kind of downplay the significance of him playing in his first postseason games in front of fans. Because, well, there were a few in Texas, I guess, by that time, when they went there to play. But, yeah, there's no doubt. Like, Fernando Tatis Jr. relishes the moment. Watch, you know, you've seen it, right? When he comes out and he greets the fans, the way that he reacts after big hits, the way that he talks, the way that he carries himself. This is one of those moments, so there's not any doubt whatsoever. But it's been interesting to me. I was just thinking it earlier today. It's almost like he's trying to downplay it.
Kevin, 2022, the Padres went into the postseason as an underdog, and they kind of were playing with a little bit of house money going into New York against a 100-win Mets team. What's the vibe and feeling about this team going into this postseason, about the expectations and where they want to go, expect to go?
I think it would be a monumental disappointment to them, and it should be to us, if they don't at least get to the next series. They believe that they are much better than that. They believe they are a World Series team. And, of course, every team in here is saying that. But, like, that's kind of like little things that they have said along the way. And then how it is kind of backed up by, like, it's hard to argue with them. Like, the roster is as complete as it's been since they've been a good team. And that's like you can go down and talk about the bullpen. You talk about how the starting pitchers have pitched the last month, especially the guys that are going to be pitching in the postseason. Is the offense? I'm a little troubled about some aspects here recently, but hey, but they believe that they are a World Series team. Now, I think there's been a lot of teams that legit, not just saying it, but legit thought they were World Series teams. They didn't get the World Series. So we'll see. But to your question, I can't stress enough how much this team believes in itself and believes that it's good.
Kevin, final one for me before you go. We heard AJ Preller this afternoon kind of comment on the job Mike Shildt has done, which obviously has been a great one. Is it a formality and extension? Whenever this season ends, Mike Shildt will receive a contract extension, right?
You would think, because that's what you do. You know what I mean? And he came in and it was a small contract and a short contract. And, you would think, because that's what you do. I think he deserves it because that's what you do. Here's the thing. Investing in a manager long-term, to me, is one of the shakiest things you can do.
Yeah.
But I don't think that matters. I just don't. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but
Sure.
That is what you do. You reward a guy, and especially a guy that you kind of hired on speculation, right? Like, okay, yeah, you're our guy. We think it's going to work out really well, but, go out and show us. And he has shown. And so, absolutely, I would think this. And I'm the guy who just said that it's kind of eyewash. You give a manager an extension. It is. I would think it's a story if he doesn't get. I would think that it's disrespectful if he doesn't get.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I agree.
Completely agree. Kevin, enjoy the series. Great reporting and writing all season long. We've enjoyed it. Looking forward to October, and thanks for joining us, all right?
I hope we're talking on Friday again. I mean,
I hope so, too.
We'd like to talk Friday. We'd like to talk every day.
Yeah, we
Just
love
call.
to talk Friday and tomorrow. And
Either way, it's a big story on Friday, right?
It is.
It's a massive story.
We will talk to you on Friday.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you, Kevin. We'll catch you on Friday.
Yeah.
All right, we will react to that on the other side. Our conversation with Kevin. Plus, we'll switch gears to the NFL coming up at 4 p.m. Will Brinson will join us for our weekly conversation. Is brought to you by Hamul. We have Mark Ziegler at 4:30, Marty Caswell at 4:45. We're at the Naughty Barrel downtown San Diego. Padres Braves at 5:30. We're here until 5:30. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
And we're at Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street, breaking down the MLB postseason live with the people. Now we get back to Jon and Jim.
Back with you here, Naughty Barrel, 9th and Market until 5:30. Padres, Braves, Game 1. We've got you covered. Marty Caswell will join us at 4:45. How about this? In the next 6 minutes, we'll give away some Aztec football tickets for Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium. We'll do that coming up in the next 6 minutes or so. San Diego State, Hawaii tickets are available at goaztecs.com. Will Brinson is our weekly guest to talk NFL, and he will join us coming up at 4 p.m.
I love postseason baseball, but I also love being downtown during a home playoff game.
Yes.
It is the absolute best. We all know in 2022, we were right in the middle of it. And you're thinking to yourself, I want this to happen every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it didn't happen last year, obviously, but being back downtown for a playoff run, hopefully a long playoff run, we're seeing tons and tons of Padres fans walk by. The Naughty Barrel is already filled up. I mean, it is already full of people.
Now, there's still room for you at the bar.
There is room at the bar.
If you want to make your way in, there's room at the bar.
But you got the back room here, the dart room. That's pretty much already full. The bar, there's a couple seats open. High tops, there's maybe one or two high tops left. But all in all, it is filled with Padres fans. It's literally my favorite time of the sports season here in San Diego when the Padres are in the playoffs.
Especially in San Diego, where, I'm watching Baltimore today. They started a delay. The tarp's on the field. I mean, it's October. Around the country, the weathers are going to cool. You're going to get some rainy weather. And then you look at this week in San Diego. Shoot, it's going to be in the 80s tomorrow. It's going to be the 80s on Thursday. I mean, it's warm. Yeah. It feels like summer. Yeah. It's 75 right now. It's 80 tomorrow. I mean, it's just spectacular. It's just spectacular is what it is. Now, some games have gone final, okay?
Okay.
So here's what's happening around baseball today.
Yeah.
The Royals in Baltimore shut out an Orioles team that has really struggled in the second half, 1-0. They did so behind Cole Reagans, who went 6 shutout innings. So Reagans beats Corbin Burns 1-0. The Royals have a leg up in that series.
Wow.
We mentioned the Tigers beating the Astros behind Tariq Skubal 3-1. The Tigers' amazing, remarkable, improbable second half into the postseason continues. And the Mets and Brewers are in a really good game right now in Milwaukee. It's the bottom of the 4th inning, tied at 3. 3-3 Mets and Brewers. Milwaukee trying to win as the home team, something that neither of the other home teams, to your point earlier, have done. Baltimore has lost. Houston has lost. Milwaukee is tied right now with the Mets.
So what these games have in common, and the Mets and Brewers game obviously right now tied 3-3 in the 4th, at least with the Royals and the Tigers series, the favorites went down. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen tonight. I'm just reiterating playoff baseball, literally anything could happen. Now, I feel better about the situation the Padres are in because Chris Sale's not starting game 1. If Chris Sale was starting game 1 and he was fully healthy, yeah, I'd be scared out of my mind right now. Mm-hmm. I'd be terrified because then you got Fried tomorrow. And if you look at the Padres splits this year offensively versus left-handed pitching, it's night and day versus lefties and righties.
Yes.
Like, they're a much better team against right-handed pitching than they are against lefties. So, the team that's coming in with nothing to lose, no pressure on them, that's a scary feeling already, but it's all about the pitching matchups, and the pitching matchups right now 100% favors the Padres, and it still does mean that tonight is a must-win, regardless of who's on the mound.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of simple. I mean, 162 games in, it comes down to winning tonight. That's what this is. I mean, if you're listening to us, you're probably a baseball fan. Maybe you're a Padres fan, right? We have a ton of Padres fans listening to us each and every day. I think a lot of people understand that in these short series, in this new era with the expanded postseason, the wild card round, the game 1 winner wins the series. Is that going to happen for forever? Of course not. Could a game 1 loser today win this series? Yeah. Probably. There's a scenario where one of the 4 game 1 losers wins the series, but I'll take the math. I'll take the game 1 winner winning the series. They're 8 for 8 in 2022 and 2023. And guess what? Today, the game 1 winner, I bet at least 3 of those teams win the series.
I do too.
The game. So, I mean, those teams are going to be 11-1 or better through 3 years. So, yeah, you play 162 games for this. Now, the teams that got the bye, it's different. You could lose game 1 and win the series.
Yeah.
But in this format with the best of 3, it's just more meaningful. And that's why I love the situation actually the Padres are in facing A.J. Smith-Shawver. It's not personal. It's nothing against A.J. Smith-Shawver. It's just he hasn't pitched this year, and Michael King's been borderline elite this year, and that's advantage San Diego.
Yeah, and if the Braves do get out to an early lead tonight, we're going to see how much pressure the Padres have put on themselves.
Yep.
Can they overcome that, knowing that they're the favorites, knowing that they have every single advantage possible in this series? Or are they going to do what they've done all year long, which trailing early in the game, trailing 5-0, trailing 3-2 late in the game doesn't affect them at all? Like, I truly believe that the Padres are a team that's not going to be affected by it. But it is postseason baseball. And when you're in a situation in a 3-game series where it's like as close to must win as possible, we'll see what happens. I still feel very confident in the Padres' chances.
I do too.
And if they trail tonight at any point, I'm not going to be like overly worried. Oh, look who shows up.
All right. Ben Fadden Talking Friars will be in the building here tonight. We have Will Brinson, who will join us on the other side, CBS Sports NFL writer. He will join us. We'll talk about where we are right now in the National Football League 4 weeks in. Marty Caswell at 4:45. We're here until 5:30. I promise you San Diego State Hawaii tickets. Caller 7, you're going Saturday at 5 p.m. 877-767-4760. Caller 7, you have 2 free tickets. San Diego State Hawaii. Call right now, 877-767-4760. Our weekly NFL Insider brought to you by Hamul. Will Brinson will join us next. We're at the Naughty Barrel until 5:30. It's Game 1, Padres and Braves. And this is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Southern California Partnership for Jobs. It is here, game 1 of the Wild Card Series, Padres and Braves. First pitch, 5:38 tonight at Petco Park. Michael King on the mound for the Padres against A.J. Smith-Sauver for the Braves. Chris Sale was left off the Braves postseason roster. He will not pitch for them due to back spasms. Other scores happening around baseball today. The Tigers took game 1 in Houston, 3-1 over the Astros. Royals beat the Orioles 1-0. They have a 1-0 game lead there. And the Brewers are holding on to a 4-3 lead over the Mets, top of the 5th inning. And the big news of the day in the Pac-12 conference, they announced the addition of Gonzaga. Think traffic's getting worse? You're right. We waste 30% more time in traffic today. Vote yes on G. Fix streets and speed up commutes. Let's get home faster. Let's go San Diego. Vote yes on G. Ad paid for by Southern California Partnerships for Jobs.
It's showtime, folks!
Let the playoffs begin. We're breaking down the MLB wildcard round live with the faithful at Naughty Barrel. 844 Market Street. Leading you right up to first pitch. Now, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? 4 o'clock hour, Jon and Jim. We're here until 5:30. Naughty Barrel downtown. What a scene it is. Padres fans everywhere. Game 1, Padres Braves in 90 minutes. Of course, we have you covered. Also, of course, each and every week, we'll be joined by Will Brinson, courtesy of Hamul, CBS Sports senior NFL writer, as we continue on here in the NFL regular season in 2024. And, Will, we always appreciate it. We received word today that the Raiders have informed other NFL teams they would consider, quote-unquote, trading Davante Adams. What's your reaction to that, and what type of return could that command for Vegas?
Well, first of all, it is criminal that Chris Sale is not going to get a pitch for my Braves against the Padres.
Okay.
Oh, your Braves. Okay.
Well, what's your
Oh, we got to
what's your
switch
take?
gears now. So, this is all Padres Braves talk.
What's your take here? Why is he now? Is it just bad luck? I mean, he goes 18-3 in the regular season. Now he's not going to pitch because of back spasms. Just bad luck.
Yeah, it's crazy. I thought that it was. I thought it was just like gamesmanship when Lindor hit that walk-off in game, or not the walk-off, but he hit the ninth inning home run.
Yeah.
They won, and they're like, well, all right, the Mets are going to pitch. The Mets are just going to tank this second game because we're already in the playoffs. We're not going to run Sale out here and use him, so we can use him for the series, the wild card series. And then, yeah, they decide to. I guess it's just bad luck. I mean, something just happened. He's got back spasms because I believe they said he's unavailable for the whole series. It's wild.
Do you have a breakdown of A.J. Smith-Sauver tonight for us, Will?
I could probably just talk Davante Adams, but
I don't know.
I know. I mean, like it feels like this is kind of a snake gut season for the Braves to a degree, right? Yeah. I mean, like just the number of injuries and just the way that things have panned out. And I mean, quite honestly, I'm a big fan of this Padres team. So it's like this isn't like a Braves Phillies from last year where like high levels of vitriol. Like I like all the players on this Padres team, and I mean I've always been a big fan of San Diego, dating back for how long I've been doing just in general. And I think that I'd like to see that. I mean I'm not saying I want the Braves to lose the series. I never root against my team, but if we're going to lose a series to somebody, I'm fine with it being the Padres.
What is Davante Adams' impact on this series? or actually, what is your reaction to Davante Adams potentially being traded, having nothing to do with this series?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the genesis of this Davante Adams stuff is that Antonio Pierce liked an Instagram post in which it was rumored that Adams might want to be traded or could get traded. And, he had, this Raiders thing is for the last 2 weeks, there was a discussion about business decisions against the Panthers. And then Adams is, pulls up laying with a hamstring, and, people are sort of questioning whether or not, he's actually hurt. And he's there. Derek Carr's been traded, before last year, and that was his guy from college. So does he want to be there? Antonio Pierce maybe talked him into coming back and being invested in this season. And now, it seems like the two sides just, they don't want to work it out. And the math can be done I think there's obvious landing spot of the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, and his history with Devontae Adams. I think the Chiefs, Rashee Rice goes down, Hollywood Brown after the year could fit, although clearly in the division, that's not something you would normally see. The Cowboys lacking some depth at wide receiver. I've seen the Lions, plenty of cap space and are certainly a contender, but not really deep necessarily at the position, and would fit what goes well with Jared Goff. There's no shortage of landing spots for Adams, and I think you have to look at what kind of draft capital do you get in return. I've seen like a third bandied about. If anything more than third, I think would be pretty surprising given his age, given his contract, and just like where we are in the season. It's not like third round pick maybe, depending on maybe a third and then like maybe a third that could turn into a second if he plays really well or something like that. That sort of feels like a decent fit for a return for Adams.
Will, how seriously are you taking the Vikings as a potential Super Bowl contender here?
I mean, very seriously. Sam Darnold is awesome. He's playing great football, and they have Justin Jefferson, an elite wide receiver. Jordan Addison is there as well. You've got T.J. Hawkinson coming back. The offensive line is Kevin O'Connell is a top 5 NFL coach, I think. And you've also got this defense that's playing great football under Brian Flores, who, Belichick disciple, former head coach, probably, will be another head coach and may have been one sooner were it not for him stewing the league over the whole discrimination thing. He brings these aggressive blitzes that are it's just difficult to prepare for. He's shown that he can be multiple and disguise his blitzes. And so I think this is a team that in an NFC that is maybe a little more watered down because of the Eagles and the Cowboys disappointing. Washington's in first place in that division right now. And the NFC North is really, really good. But like you look at the playoffs, and right now 3 NFC South teams would be in the playoffs. So why not the Vikings? And why not Sam Darnold for MVP? A phrase I didn't think I would utter ever.
Sam Darnold.
Especially in just a wide open NFC. We have Will Brinson with us right now. We do every Tuesday at 4 p.m. courtesy of Hamul Casino, CBS Sports senior NFL writer. Are the Ravens back, or did they ever go anywhere? But how do you see the Ravens right now at 2-2 based on what they did this past weekend?
Yeah, I don't think they ever went anywhere. They should be 3-1. That loss to the Raiders is inexplicable. You're up 10 plus points in the fourth quarter against like Gardner Minshew, and you have Derrick Henry, and that's a closeout moment if you ever think about one. So, and then the Chiefs game, I mean, think about how close that was. So I just look at it more like and they had this issue last year where they lost some double-digit leads early in the season. I look at it as more circumstantial, and I think you see the last 2 games why they went out and got Derrick Henry. When he can, that first play from scrimmage last night, my God, or Monday night, excuse me, my God, or Sunday night, excuse me, was just incredible. I mean, he hit like 21.9 miles per hour. 0.17 slower than Xavier Worthy did on his touchdown on Sunday, which is just crazy considering it's the fastest guy ever to make it to the combine. He brings another dimension to that offense. The offensive line's starting to come together, and they haven't had to use the tight ends outside of that week 1 game from Isaiah Likely in the passing game that much. So I think this is a team that sort of had a tough game in week 1, an ugly loss in week 2, and is starting to sort of put it together and will be, looks like I would make them the easy favorites over Pittsburgh in that division, despite the record.
Are the Commanders like legit? I mean, Jaden Daniels has been incredible for the first 4 games of the season. They're 3-1. I mean, how seriously are we taking the Commanders here, Will?
I mean, again, like, I'll probably look like an idiot, more so than usual in a couple of weeks when all these comments after week 4 are incorrect. But I mean, Jaden Daniels, first quarterback in NFL history to complete 85% of his passes in back-to-back games. He has the highest completion percentage through 4 weeks of any NFL quarterback since Tom Brady in 2007. he looks the part. Like he's running, but he's not trying. He's not forcing the runs. He looks calm and poised, and it's like the moment's not too big for him when he's out there. The offensive line is the biggest surprise, I think, because Daniels had a high pedigree. The offensive line playing awesome in the run game and holding up perfectly fine in the pass game. Now they played some bad defense, so maybe it comes back to earth a little bit. But I do like what Cliff Kingsbury's done the last 2 weeks, sort of getting more vertical than he did in the early going for this offense. That horizontal array, the college scheme, was kind of questionable the first 2 weeks, but Daniels makes all the throws, and the defense. I think it's maybe a work in progress. I trust Dan Quinn to get it right. I don't think it'll be a great defense this year. I think they'll be in a lot of shootouts. But look, I mean, I don't want to do like a full-blown transitive property with Dan Quinn and the Cowboys, but the Cowboys defense stunk under Mike Nolan before Dan Quinn got there. Then all of a sudden it's a top 10 unit, and every year he's there. He leaves, the Cowboys are trash on defense, and Washington becomes a good team. I mean, maybe Dan Quinn, and by the way, you think the Falcons in the Super Bowl. Maybe Dan Quinn's just a good football coach,
Will Brinson with us right now on Jon and Jim. I'm just looking at some of these teams that are 1-3 or worse, like Pats, Dolphins, Browns, Bengals, Titans. Is anyone capable of anything? Giants, Rams, Cardinals, Panthers. Can anyone at 1-3 salvage a season or not?
I think it's got to be the Bengals, right? I mean, they've done it before. Yeah. They've got an elite quarterback in Joe Burrow. They've got the weapons in Chase and Higgins, and they just started slow every single season that Joe Burrow's there. Joe Burrow's been there, so I think the answer has to be the Bengals. But the one big concern with Cincinnati is that they've got this defense that I don't know that it's going to magically get better. Lou Anarumo is a great defensive coach, but he's also a guy who, the defense, I'm not going to blame Lou, but I mean, like the defense wasn't good last year. I think they were last in, I don't know if it was like yards per attempt, but it was yards per player, yards per attempt allowed. They've just lost some key personnel. And I just wonder if, is that offense going to be enough to just like go up top and take over and win, 9-10 games? Now, I mean, you look around the AFC and it's a little more stable, I think, than the NFC, just in terms of what we expected. But certainly, like, there's a hill to climb. There's a hill to climb, and like I think Cincinnati's the only team that can do it if I'm picking one.
What's your setup here for Braves Padres? Are you watching this thing? What's the plan for tonight?
I'm traveling, so I'm like, that's why I'm like, if I sound like disjointed, it's because I like literally landed in. So I'll be watching it, but I'm not going to be, I'm not like at a Braves watch party. The weird thing about the Braves, I don't know if you guys are all the way out there in California, so I don't know if you know this, but it's like, I'm from High Point, North Carolina, and I grew up a Braves fan just because it was like all Braves, like everybody in the Southeast is a Braves fan.
Yeah.
You can be from like, Tennessee and, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, you run into Braves fans everywhere. And it's like, it's just the weirdest phenomenon. And yet we still don't even really have, any other teams out here.
Well, we would wish you good luck, but we're not going to here in San Diego. Sorry, the Padres and Braves, but Will, we do appreciate.
Look, we won a World Series recently. I know how San Diego sports fans feel, and I know what they deserve. So again, I never root against the Braves in the series, but if we lose to y'all in this 3-game series, I hope you run the table.
We appreciate it. There you go. Thank you. Will, you heard it from Will
Will's
Brinson.
now a Padre fan.
There we go. Will, thank you for doing it. We'll catch up again next week, and appreciate the time as always, all right?
Thanks, Will.
All right, talk to you guys next week.
All right, Will Brinson, again, senior NFL writer for CBS Sports. And by the way, his appearance brought to you by Hamul Casino, 7 restaurants, thrilling games, and a sports pub voted San Diego's best. Hamul Casino is fun above all else. We've got a loaded hour, and Ben Fadden also going to join us on the other side. Mark Siegler at 4:30, Marty Caswell at 4:45. Talking Friars himself. Ben Fadden joins us next. This is Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim. We've been telling you about our friends over at Jamul Casino. Get there this week. If you're not making your way downtown, you can watch all of the MLB postseason action. Get there throughout football season because they've got specials every single Monday night. They're calling it Monday Night Live, $100,000 Punch-Out.
Yeah, John, with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m., your odds are better than ever. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting two-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $100,000 in cash.
A couple of weeks ago, we're at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. They've got great
so
food and drink, and it's a great spot to watch the MLB action. Again, NFL as well. And they also have endless dining 5 nights a week, and their endless dining is incredible, including Saturday surf and turf. They've just gone over the top. They really have, with the combinations of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, and more.
Yeah, get to Jamul Casino all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live $100,000 Punch-Out. Jamul Casino, it's fun above all else.
Baseball's postseason is underway, and we're live at Naughty Barrel previewing the action with the Fanatics. Now back to Jon and Jim.
All right, keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere. Whether you're stepping out of the car or settling in at home, just ask your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760 or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier to stay connected with your favorite shows like this one. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. By the way, happy hour is underway.
Yes.
They have happy hour drink specials at Naughty Barrel until 6 p.m. So get here like Ben Fadden, Talking Friars, who has made an appearance. He will be at tonight's game. He has told us off air he is nervous. So that's normal and natural. 162, and it kind of comes to – do you agree with this, that it's a must-win game? AJ Smith-Shawver, the Padres need to win tonight, right?
Yeah, must win because tomorrow got Max Fried going. I'm confident in Joe Musgrove, but when you have Michael King, who's been the Padres' most consistent starter this season, he hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs since, I think, August 7th. This guy's going to probably give you a quality outing. The guys that the Braves are down The bullpen's going to be throwing back-to-back days for the most part. Fresh bullpen on the Padres side. It seems like everything is in the Padres' favor, and you just don't know what's going to happen the rest of the series. You don't want to be down 0-1, even with Musgrove and Cease, because, again, who knows what's going to happen with this bullpen tonight, and you got Fried tomorrow for the Braves, and then maybe Charlie Morton in Game 3. You want to take advantage of this at home Game 1 in front of your home crowd. Got to do it tonight.
So, from a standpoint of what scares you the most, other than the fact it's a team coming in with literally nothing to lose, they are going to be on pure adrenaline. We've seen what's going on today in the postseason. Every road team has won. Besides all that, because that's just intangible stuff, what on the Braves scares you the most?
Well, I would say it's definitely their offense. Marcell Ozuna, I was listening to you guys earlier. He can definitely get you.
Yeah.
Matt Olson, I know he hasn't had the best year, but it's still Matt Olson. He still has a track record. And I know it's not your question, but on the Padres side, what worries me is some of the back end of the bullpen. What are they going to do with Robert Suarez? Mike Shildt, you're trying to get 27 outs. This isn't the regular season anymore where you're just going on rolls. I'm wondering how are they going to approach that? That's part of what worries me. Still talent in that lineup, no doubt about it. This is not the White Sox that we're playing. The Braves, they're here for a reason.
Ben Fadden talking Fryer swinging by on his way into the game. Are you at all surprised? I mean, you're like us. I mean, you consume it every single day. I mean, day in and day out, 24/7, 365, legitimately and literally. Are you even surprised at the way this season ended from 50-50 to the way they've played as well as any team in baseball? Are you surprised the way it all played out or not?
Well, going into after the All-Star break, we knew it as Shildt season. So I was like, I'm confident that this is going to be good and they're going to be a postseason team. But no, I would be lying if I was going to say that I was going to expect this. It doesn't matter who they're playing. Even the bad teams, the Angels, the Rockies, they're able to do their job there. Good teams, whether it's the Dodgers or the Astros at home, treating those like playoff series, they've been able to do it. And it's just the unselfishness of this team. They're motivated. They played those games like it's the playoffs. I'm not worried about Jackson Merrill. It's like the beginning of the year where we were talking about the bottom of the order with Merrill.
Yeah.
I didn't care where he hit because he had that mindset already. This team has that, and it's not just Jackson. It's a lot of these guys. So, yeah, I'm feeling worried, but I'm feeling good. I like this team more than I did the 2022 team going in.
So who's your closer? Still
Well,
Robert
it
Suarez?
Depends on the lane. I'm not just saying Robert Suarez. It depends on the lane.
You use the left, right.
Yeah.
You go on matchups.
I
you think
agree with
Shildt should go
that.
matchups?
Out of the three, I'm more confident in Jason Adam than the other two right now.
Because Scott will walk guys, because
Right.
Suarez will allow
Suarez
hit.
balls
I mean,
sometimes, yeah. Yep.
So, I would agree with that. And I also agree. I think it should be matchup dependent, not guaranteed role. I mean, what happens if you don't fill your role in game one? It's like you can't look back and be like, oh, we'll get him next time. I mean, you basically have cost yourself the season.
Yeah. It's one thing for Shildt to say that in April. We'll get him. But, yeah, it's October.
Am I asked the next question?
You're up next.
Forgot.
Yeah, you're up next.
Here's the thing.
I asked the question about the closer so that now when he answered it, job to ask the question.
I'm noticing with Ben, he seems super nervous. Not to be on with us for this game.
Oh, yeah.
No, I am.
Nobody's ever been nervous to be on with us. But for this game, you seem super nervous.
Yeah. You see me swaying around. Yep, I can't wait. But
I'm just –
No, I
it's a
understand.
3-game series.
Here's the thing. While every advantage is the Padres' way, usually in sports when that happens, something goes wrong. There's always old takes exposed. Just tweeted out a picture of the entire panel picking the one team to win the game. And what happens? The team that they all picked, they lost the game.
Exactly.
So I understand that from a standpoint of how nervous this will be for all Padres fans going into the series because everybody's picking the Padres. Everybody. There's not one person out there. I mean, we just had a Will Prince on. He's even saying that's
he's a Braves fan. Okay, let me ask you this real quick because we only have a couple of minutes. We got Mark Siegler and Marty. Who's stars for San Diego? Who's got the biggest offensive game tonight? If you're betting on someone, who are you betting on? Who's got the most total bases?
It's hard for me not to pick Manny, just the way that he has been since the All-Star. I mean, really since, June?
Yeah.
He's been really good. And Jackson Merrill, I would not be surprised about that either. This guy just seems like he is ready for the moment. He doesn't get too worried about anything. He's out there playing baseball. 162 is not enough for him. He's already said that.
Yep.
This guy, I just feel like he can't wait. He's been waiting all year for this moment. And so I definitely think he can capitalize.
They need a Manny postseason run, like a Bryce Harper or a Beltran or a Bonds. Put the freaking team on your back. Be literally, you can't pitch to the guy. You got to pitch around him. And every time he gets a pitch
somewhere,
he does damage.
Don't forget about Fernando either.
First
time with full fans.
I know. He always does something special.
Ben, enjoy it, my friend. Thanks for swinging by. You're doing great.
You.
Seriously, you've done an amazing job. The bullpen chart for the Braves basically saved us doing work last night.
Maybe tonight he'll find a nice girl to talk to and get a girlfriend.
Leave him alone.
All right. That's his fault, by the way.
Mark Siegler from the UT will join us on the other side. Gonzaga to the Pac-12. Its impact on San Diego State. On the other side with Mark Siegler, we're at the Naughty Barrel until 5:30. Happy hours going on. It's Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it is Jon and Jim, and it is just an amazing time of year. Baseball postseason kicks off today. NFL season underway. College football, of course, is here. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. And with Underdog, you can win 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats.
Yeah, John, they just need to head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. And Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in cash bonus when you deposit. I think it's an easy bet tonight, higher than a half home run total for Manny Machado.
I love that. Seriously.
I'm taking
Let's
that.
all go in on that. Higher than a half total home run for Manny Machado. Go to the mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code JONANDJIM to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer.
Must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms to apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, this update is brought to you by Southern California Partnerships for Jobs. It's finally here. Padres and Braves, game 1 tonight at Petco Park. 5:38 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres against A.J. Smith-Sauver for the Braves. The reason why he's starting tonight is because Chris Sale is not on the postseason roster. He is out for the wild card round due to back spasms. Other scores in the playoffs today, all good for the road teams. Tigers took game 1 in Houston 3-1. Royals took game 1 over the Orioles 1-0. And right now the Mets are up 8-4 on the Brewers, bottom 6 in Milwaukee. And of course, the big news of the day that John is continuously reading about every single break. The Pac-12 announced the addition of Gonzaga to the conference. Think traffic's getting worse? You're right. We waste 30% more time in traffic today. Vote yes on G. Fix streets and speed up commutes. Let's get home faster. Let's go San Diego. Vote yes on G. Ad paid for by Southern California Partnerships for Jobs.
It's the playoffs, and we're at Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street, breaking down the MLB postseason live with the people. Now we get back to Jon and Jim.
All right, we are downtown at the Naughty Barrel. We are getting you ready for 5:30, but we're covering, of course, all the sports news in San Diego, which includes what the Pac-12 did today. Adding Gonzaga. Of course, the Zags don't have football, but a significant basketball and all-sports edition for the Pac-12. And Mark Ziegler's been reporting on it and writing about it today in the UT as well. And he's back with us now on Jon and Jim. Mark, always appreciate it. We know it's busy. So specifically on Gonzaga, what's the impact on the league and how does it impact San Diego State? And thanks for hopping on.
Well, it makes it what was going to be a pretty good basketball league into a really, really good basketball league. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I thought J.D. Wicker had a really good point. He noted that, in power conferences, yeah, they care about basketball, right? And they care about it mostly in March. But the football revenues are so huge in those conferences, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80 million a year per school, compared to what they draw in or pull in basketball. It's so much of the focus is on basketball, is on football, and basketball kind of gets lost in there. And at the level that San Diego State is going to be at with the Pac-12, which will be, maybe the top group of 5 or mid-major conference, the revenues are much closer. And so basketball is relatively speaking, a much bigger deal and a much more of a value proposition. And that's why getting Gonzaga is a big deal for them, because they consider themselves a basketball league just as much as they are a football league.
How big of a win is this for the new Pac-12, especially after everything that happened with the Memphis and Tulane and that whole situation, and then the Mountain West Conference stepping in, and then UNLV staying with the Mountain West? To get Gonzaga, just how big of a win is this for the entire conference, even though it's just basketball?
Well, you talk about winning the press conference. They certainly won the press conference today because it's a flashy ad. And it is basketball, like JD said, it's something they do care about. But at the end of the day, as much as they care about basketball, football still drives the bus, and they need to get an 8th full member that plays football. And the options for that are dwindling. Now, what's important, I think the most important thing about getting Gonzaga is that it allows them to take that next step and go to potential television partners and say, okay, we have Gonzaga. They're locked down. Here's some other teams that we have. What do you think our projected media revenue is? And if we add another school, say it's the Memphis or someone else, they go back and try to get, what will that do to our valuation? And it's a lot easier to do that now with Gonzaga, a lot easier to maybe go back to an AAC school and entice them to come. Otherwise, there aren't a lot of options out there, real viable options. They might have to get really creative in who they go after, looking for that 8th football member that they need to have inclusion in the CFP.
I'm probably getting ahead of myself, Mark, and Mark Ziegler from the UT with us right now on Jon and Jim. As we look towards 2026, or I guess March of 2027, would you expect the Pac-12 to keep Las Vegas as its conference tournament market, even without UNLV? And of course, the Pac-12 never previously had UNLV and used Las Vegas. Would you expect Las Vegas, or with the Gonzaga and a San Diego State in the fold, could you see the Seattles and the Los Angeleses pop up in a rotation? How do you see that?
I don't think they've decided that. I've asked some people in the league that, and they've said, look, we've been so focused on expansion and getting our lineup together and TV that they haven't gotten to that far. But I think one of the interesting things to note is that UNLV, as part of the agreement to stay in the Mountain West, and it was really, in the fine print, they agreed to keep the conference tournament at the Thomas and Mack Center, which is obviously on UNLV's campus, and the Mountain West will stay there for the foreseeable future. That opens up T-Mobile Arena and MGM properties for the Pac-12. That's where the Pac-12 tournament used to be. And I know the Big Ten and Big 12 have talked about occasionally coming and having their tournament there. But in those years they're not there, it opens up a really nice arena and a nice spot. Also, Gonzaga has proven that they can bring a ton of fans to Vegas, even though it's a pretty long trip for them. And they've regularly come, maybe just made it part of their annual, vacation time for a lot of fans to come, and they've had a good thing going to New Orleans. So I think I suspect they'll stay in Vegas, but maybe they'll go to Seattle. Maybe they'll go to another market and try it out. But Vegas is kind of the tried and true, destination, and I think they may have a shot at getting into a really good arena.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you be surprised if concessions were made similar to the WCC in terms of like the latter format of that tournament for Gonzaga? Like, would you expect if this is an 8 or 10 team league for it to play out like a traditional 8-team quarterfinal, or a 10-team league where 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9 on their way into a quarterfinal?
That's going to be interesting. I think one of the biggest adjustments for Gonzaga, obviously they're making this move for money. That's why everybody makes moves. And they're going to double or triple their annual revenues, which is going to be a huge thing for them, which they'll somehow turn into NIL and keep the program going because they don't have to worry about football. But in terms of the format of the conference tournament, I think the adjustment Gonzaga is going to have to make is to being not the biggest and only dog in the conference. They're not even going to have a seat at the football table. And so they're just going to be a member of a conference, not the member of a conference. And I don't think they're going to have as much power as they used to. They're going to give some of that up, cede some of that for more money than they're making now. And so I don't think that Mark Few is going to be able to waltz in there and say, yeah, I want to buy to the semifinals. And not sure that it necessarily would work because you're going to have a lot of pretty good basketball programs in this conference. And, playing a quarterfinal game against an Oregon State or a Washington State or Boise State isn't going to kill your metrics. And I think that was their big concern. So I would think no, particularly if they get that league up to, 10 or 11 members. I think that you'll see just a normal conference tournament and we'll go from there.
So what's next? I mean, the schools are, kind of limited when you think about it. Sac State's a school out there that just got, I think, 35. Tulane staying in the AAC and UNLV not coming to the Pac-12. Like, where do you think this conference goes next?
Well, the options are limited, and no one from the Mountain West can come. They've signed a granted rights. Short of a full-on merger, which I really don't think is going to happen. I know some people have called for that. I just think too much has been done. There's too much toothpaste out of the tube to put it back in and try that. I think there were, a month ago, there were probably a decent chance at a merger, and now I think those chances have really, really dwindled. So short of that, you're going to have to get creative unless you want to take a less than desirable program into your conference and give them pretty big money. But, I think you look at a program like Texas State. I think both these conferences are sort of fighting over Texas State behind the scenes right now. It used to be Tarleton State. It's between Austin and San Antonio in a really growing area of Texas. And do you look at them and say, all right now they're not much, but in 10 years, there's a lot of investment. They're in Texas. That's a pretty big market, 2 pretty big markets. They sit between, maybe we could have something there. Maybe Sac State is something like that. There's a couple other ones out there in a similar vein, aren't really good right now, but maybe in 5 or 10 years they could be. I think you almost might have to, if you can't go back to the AAC and attract one of those bigger named established athletic programs, I think you almost have to look at outside the box because the other options really aren't very good.
Mark, when the dust eventually settles on the league, whenever it is, do you think additional non-football members will be a part of the conference or not?
I know JD has been open about this. He said his ideal makeup of the league is 9 football members minimum. So you have an 8-game conference schedule. Everybody plays everybody once. You have 4 non-conference games, very neat and tidy and fair and equitable. And then he'd like to see, as a 10th member, a non-football playing school, which is Gonzaga, and they've got it. But he's also said in a few conversations, 10th or 11th. So that may open up the door for another non-football playing program. And then you start looking at schools like Grand Canyon, which is actually just about to join Gonzaga in the WCC next year. So they'll be with him for 1 year, and then Gonzaga will leave, or St. Mary's. But, both of them have their drawbacks. St. Mary's, it plays in a very, very small facility. They're basically a coach. They're not really a program. And if Randy Badman ever leaves, and I think he eventually will, it's hard to imagine that continuing at the level that it has. And I think also NIL is really going to crush them. You just saw it with Aiden Mahaney, their best player, leaving to go to UConn this year. So, I think I think those are still in discussions, but I think right now they're more focused on just getting that football member, one or possibly two football members, and really solving that piece of the puzzle, and they'll return to basketball after that.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Mark, great reporting. We've enjoyed it. It's an interesting time, as it always is in college athletics. It never stops, and great reporting on it. We'll do it again soon, and thanks for hopping on, all right?
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you guys.
All right. Great stuff. Mark Ziegler from the UT. We'll step aside. Our busy hour continues on the other side from inside Petco Park with our very own Marty Caswell. She'll get us ready for tonight. Naughty Barrel is buzzing with activity. Padres and Braves coming up at 5:30. Do not go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim.
Baseball's postseason is underway, and we're live at Naughty Barrel previewing the action with the Fanatics. Now back to Jon and Jim.
All right, Marty Caswell is going to join us from inside Petco Park momentarily. Padres, Braves. We'll get underway at 5:38, which is in 51 minutes. So Padres, Braves game one coming up in 50 minutes. As Jim has mentioned throughout the course of the show, Padres trying to do something that other home teams today haven't done. We've got two home teams that have lost. We have a third team in Milwaukee that is losing right now to the New York Mets in the bottom of the seventh inning, 8-4. Now, what does that mean for San Diego? Absolutely nothing, because the Padres are playing the Braves tonight. They're not in these other random series. So hopefully that trend does not continue. Is it cause for concern or alarm? Of course it is. All these teams are capable.
Yeah.
I go back to starting pitching, where I think the Padres have a significant edge here tonight. Hopefully they take advantage of it. We can't guarantee that happens, but hopefully they take advantage of that opportunity.
That's the first thing I go to. I go to, who are they facing? It's the adage of you're only as good as your next day's starter. And I'm not saying the Braves aren't going to be good tonight, or they're not going to put up a fight, because AJ Smith-Shawver is a guy who's only pitched one time this year for them. They still have a good lineup. They still have a good team. They won 89 games. It's not a fluke. But I feel very confident going into this game. If it was Chris Sale, it's completely flipped for me. But it's not Chris Sale, and he's not going to be in this series. And the Padres are going to have the momentum going into this series because of how things have shaped out with the injuries and the Braves bullpen and so forth and so forth. And they're going to be heavy favorites, as they should be. But yeah, once the game starts, if all of a sudden they go down 1-0 in the first, a lot of nervous people will be there in Petco Park.
Do we have Marty? Okay,
hold on. Come on, Jim. Sorry, there's
you set up a Marty interview.
Okay, I did. Let me just text. Hold on.
Yeah, let's just hold on. Yeah, everyone just hold on.
You do the same thing.
I do, don't I?
Yeah, there you go, Brent. That's the right number. Sorry. See, the thing is, on my phone, Marty used to have two phones.
That wasn't even close.
I know. Marty. I know, Brent. Marty used to have two phones. So I had both of her numbers in my phone, and for some reason,
why did Marty have two phones?
Well, she wouldn't give up her BlackBerry because it had like every number imaginable in sports in it, and she loved her BlackBerry. And then when she got her Android, she kept her BlackBerry. And then once BlackBerry went out of commission because they stopped making parts for it,
2011,
right? She had to discontinue that phone.
Okay,
so that's what it is.
Okay, so she is inside.
Yeah.
She has been there for the workout day yesterday.
She's basically living there. She's living at Petco Park, yes.
Okay, so we're going to catch up with Marty momentarily. Of course, Padres fans right now, we're at the Naughty Barrel. People are making their way in. Marty Caswell back with the San Diego Sports 760, Jon and Jim. Marty, it feels like you've been living inside Petco Park. You were there for the workout day. You've been there here this afternoon. What is the confidence level like? Like, all the fans are like, oh, it stacks up beautifully. No Chris Sale. The Padres are at home. What are you reading from the Padres, how they're treating the series against Atlanta? And thanks for hopping on as always.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Jon and Jim? By the way,
What's
I want you guys to
happening?
know that the incoming name on my phone says scam likely. So I'm not sure which one of you this is referring to. Just let me know that's what the incoming call says when you guys down me up. No,
perfect. Love it. Incoming spam.
Spam, not spam. Scam.
Scam.
Or
Amazing.
spam, right? No, but to go ahead and answer your question, I would tell you it's an absolute sense of confidence. And it's funny because Joe Musgrove was asked that question in his little pregame presser scrum today with Brendan Tatis. And he said in 2022 was different. They were like, oh man, hey, we got here. Let's just keep on going. It wasn't like, I'm not sure there was the same sort of confidence, like the deep team, deep roster, the sense of health. It's like, wow, we're a wild ride. Let's go ahead and just go on. With what Joe Musgrove was saying is that, listen, these guys have played very well. They had consistent baseball since the All-Star break, winning all these different series, just the way they, complete games. And then also, Michael King talked about it yesterday. It feels like these guys have been in playoff mode for the past month, just because they could never have that giant separation in the wild card or in the playoffs. I mean, they were kind of really in there to the very last week. So they've been playing high-intensity baseball, and these guys feel like because of that, they're very prepared for what's to come, and that they can take on any challenge, including AJ Smith.
AJ Smith, of course. When you saw that name, Marty, did you get like hives? Did you start shaking when you saw AJ Smith was the starter tonight for the Braves?
Okay, I did not start shaking, and that would have been kind of strange. Listen, rest in peace, AJ Smith. Of course, he's a longtime Charger GM, passed away this year. But no, it's just kind of funny that AJ Smith, for such a long time in this sports community, was like that guy, right? He was the architect of that Chargers team. He was the fall guy for the Chargers era. It didn't work out, and now could AJ Smith come back to haunt the Padres? Of course, it's a different Padres. It was kind of funny though that's the guy. That is the name they literally pulled from their hat. And I know there were conspiracists out there that were thinking that the whole Chris Sale thing, the back thousands, that was like an absolute scam. That they had the Braves had it all planned. They would figure the way in, and then lo and behold, switcheroo, Chris Sale's good to go. But man, it's going to be interesting to see how the Padres go up against a guy that they have pretty much they have no intel on. I mean, they haven't seen him, they haven't faced him. There isn't much out there at a major league level, so this will be interesting.
Were you surprised at all with the announcement of Michael King going game 1 here?
No. Not at all. Because when I do my little weekly, this may be a surprise to you, I do a little week segment on Sunday with Dennis Lynn. And I asked him that question. You don't need a 5-minute rotation for the playoffs. Who do you think it's going to be? And he thought, this is almost a month ago, that surprised people that Michael King has been so. He would be the guy. And there was a good chance Eugene Rivers was going to be me again, and that was he's a guy in game 1. I mean, they had the luxury of setting want to go, in this wild card. Could have been Joe Musgrove, who's been great at the Padres with playoffs. Another, we're going with Michael King, and last all season, really this time a year ago, we're talking about the possible right, and the game and breaking out by blah blah blah. It's a little bit. That the guy who becomes the piece of the train along further is the one who can first outside for the circles.
Okay, Marty, we're gonna let you go because the last 60 seconds we heard nothing of what you said. We let you just talk, but we had no clue what you said. It was like Kevin Acee, but like 100 times.
No,
worse.
It
wasn't your fault.
It was along the lines of we hear Dennis Lynn with Marty every
and
week.
Then it was like blah 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 blah.
And he's been talking about Michael King's going to be in this rotation. And so it should be no surprise that Michael King got the game 1 start because she talks to Dennis Lynn every week during her report that plays during our show.
Yeah. No. Oh, wow. So you did that was really, really good. You guys, I'm a little bit hyped up right now. Like, anything to me, it's my fault. They try again. No surprise. Michael has been the best.
Marty, we're going to let you go because we can't hear you. We'll check in with you tomorrow.
Good luck, Marty.
You're off the Mars, wherever you are in the world right now. It sounds like you're on Mars. Thank you. Enjoy the game.
Thank
we'll
you,
catch
Marty.
up tomorrow. Bye, Marty. All right, Marty Caswell. Listen, that's why she gets paid the big bucks. That's why she gets paid the big bucks. All right, on the other side, we are getting you ready for game 1. We are here until 5:30. We haven't gotten to the wrap. We will do that on the other side. Leading you up to Padres and Braves, game 1 of a 3-game series here from Petco Park. We're at the Donnie Barrel where happy hour is underway and going on until 6 p.m. Do not go anywhere. The 5 p.m. hour of Jon and Jim comes your way next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Southern California Partnership for Jobs. We're about 38 minutes away from first pitch at Petco Park between the Padres and the Braves. Game 1, Michael King on the mound for the Padres against A.J. Smith-Shawver for the Braves. Chris Sale was left off the postseason roster for the Braves because of back spasms. Other scores in baseball today as the wild card series are underway. Royals took game 1 against the Orioles, 1-0. Tigers over the Astros, 3-1 in that series. And right now, the Mets leading the Braves 8-4, bottom 8 in Milwaukee. And the Pac-12 announced today the addition of Gonzaga to the conference. Think traffic's getting worse? You're right. We waste 30% more time in traffic today. Vote yes on G. Fix streets and speed up commutes. Let's get home faster. Let's go San Diego. Vote yes on G. Ad paid for by Southern California Partnership for Jobs.
It's showtime, folks!
Let the playoffs begin. We're breaking down the MLB wildcard round live with the faithful at Naughty Barrel. 844 Market Street. Leading you right up to first pitch. Now, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final 30 minutes of Jon and Jim, because like Jim just told you, we're about 30 minutes out. First pitch, Padres, Braves on this spectacular early evening, late afternoon where the sun has begun to set. Michael King opposite A.J. Smith-Shawver. We are at the Naughty Barrel, by the way. If you do not have tickets, this is now a perfect spot to watch the game. A lot of people have made their way in.
Yep.
Some seats have opened up. All the games are on. We're talking about Mets and Brewers later on tonight. Obviously, Padres and Braves. So if you're looking for a place to watch the game, get to the Naughty Barrel, 9th and Market here downtown. In fact, if you get here in the next 1 hour, they have happy hour drink specials going on right now. Jim of all people has been gymming. Jim of all people has been drinking.
Well, you have been drinking too, buddy.
I've had like a kombucha.
You've had, what, 2 kombuchas?
I've had 16.
Yeah, you're drunk.
I'm 23 kombuchas.
I'm very drunk right now.
You've had 1 drink. Now, you just bought. Remember yesterday on Jon and Jim, you said, if anyone comes down and says, John's an idiot,
yep,
yes, I'll buy you a drink. Someone came by and you ended up buying them 2 drinks.
Yeah, I bought them 2 drinks. Yeah.
You bought the John's an idiot drink.
Yep.
And so you're basically the idiot because it cost you $20.
No, you're actually the idiot because they called you an idiot. But yeah, I'm an idiot.
So,
hey, I'm a man of
man
of my word, man. It came down, called you an idiot, bought him a couple beers.
Jim's going to do it again tomorrow. First person that comes down tomorrow and says John's an idiot, he's going to buy a drink for.
Okay.
We're back here tomorrow. What time are we on tomorrow?
Tomorrow, 2 o'clock start, same time, same place, 2 to 5:30. Getting ready for first pitch. Game 2 tomorrow. And then if this thing goes to game 3 on Thursday, the times are going to potentially change.
Well, they definitely change.
Yeah, they will change, but right now it's scheduled Thursday, 4:08.
Right.
First pitch for game 3, and again, we'll be down here pending what happens in game 1 or 2.
You remember the iconic radio show in Southern California called the Loose Cannons?
I remember that very vividly because I used to be the producer for that iteration.
And I was one of the iconic members late in the legacy of the Loose Cannons.
Oh, you were?
But do you remember a segment called, was it Headlines?
Headlines, yeah. It's a turn into
like,
disaster.
what will the headline be following the Chargers game on Monday?
Yeah, Rivers flows through a river or something.
Exactly. So my question is this: when we're back on the air tomorrow from the Naughty Barrel at 2 o'clock, what's the first thing we're talking about?
I think the first thing we're talking about is Michael King's first career postseason start and how he's going to pitch well. And then the second
how he's going to pitch well, he's already done.
No, I'm talking about right now. Like, we're talking tomorrow about how he pitched well tonight.
Okay.
And then I also think we're also going to be talking about how this offense put up runs on the board early and kind of put the Braves out of their misery in game 1.
I think what we're hopefully talking about is Joe Musgrove going for a sweep.
Well, that's too.
That's that as well. So that's my hope, and that's everyone's hope heading into tomorrow, and we're back here at 2 p.m. Listen, Petco Park tonight's going to be insanity.
Yeah.
And how do the Padres kind of bottle it all up as a team and use that to their advantage? I thought Marty made an interesting point when we understood what she said briefly before
what did
her
she
phone
say?
Literally went crazy. The point was that they have never, ever faced A.J. Smith-Shawver or whatever his name is.
Shawver.
Right. So you can watch, I guess, whatever there is on him in the major leagues. He pitched last year as a 20-year-old. He's pitched this year as a 21-year-old briefly. But until you're in the batter's box, is there going to be an adjustment? And the one thing I'm thinking about from the Atlanta perspective, are you trying to get one turn through the rotation with Shawver and then go to your bullpen? That's a little bit of a tricky proposition when you've used every reliever you've had over the last 24 hours. My point is this. If you've never faced a guy, Shawver theoretically could have the advantage first time through. You've never faced the guy. He could have an advantage first time through. And I wonder if after first time through, if Atlanta's content to go to their bullpen at that point.
I think the best case scenario for the Braves is if you get Shawver through 3.
Yeah, 3 innings, 1 run.
I mean, that's the best case scenario for them. I will be, if all of a sudden it's scoreless through 4 innings,
right,
I'll be like, okay.
Right.
Now I still have faith that they can get it, get to their bullpen because the Braves bullpen is pretty taxed right now.
That's right.
It's vitally important to knock Shawver out of this game early, I feel like, so you can tax that bullpen even more.
Where's the Talking Friars Braves chart? So Ben Fadden, who was on with us earlier, put together a chart of how the Braves bullpen has been used over the last 3 days. He does it all the time with the Padres. And it actually was pretty fascinating because yesterday they used every single pitcher in their bullpen but 2.
And they used a starter.
Yes, and only 1 pitcher on their entire staff or in their bullpen has not appeared over the last 2 days. And yesterday they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitchers used in relief. And of those 8 pitchers used in relief, like 4 of them threw 20 or more pitches. Now, do you just say, screw it, even if you threw 20 pitches yesterday, you're available here today? Probably. That's my guess, that other than the dude who threw 53 pitches, the starter, or Holmes, other than him, I would think everyone in the Braves bullpen is available here today.
Here's how I think the Braves are looking at tonight. They're looking at tonight, all hands on deck, game 7. And tax the bullpen if you have to. Use your top guys if you have to, because they're going to put a lot of pressure on Max Fried to go out tomorrow night and to give you minimum 7, right? Like they're thinking that if Max Fried tomorrow, they're putting a lot of pressure on him, tomorrow he's going to go 7 minimum.
Yep.
So with that in mind, try and go all out for game 1 because you have Fried in the bag in game 2. I have no idea what they're going to game 3, but with Fried going game 2, I think they can say, all right, we can afford a bullpen game tonight and go all out, use our top guys because we feel that confident with Fried tomorrow in game 2.
Yeah, and honestly, the strategy, the truth is you have to win 2 games. So it's not like you're guaranteed to win the series by winning game 1. I'm just looking at recent baseball history.
Yeah.
And game 1 winners win every series. And not only do they win every series, they sweep them all. They've swept 7 of the last 8 best-of-3 series in the postseason. So it's a massive advantage to get game 1. I mean, a massive one.
Yeah.
We've seen 2 road teams win today. The Mets are how many outs away? They're 3 outs away
from taking
barring a 4-run rally for the Brewers or more in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Mets, as the 6th seed, are going to be up 1 game to none in Milwaukee.
What'd you tell me during the break?
I said it 30 minutes ago. Now, I'll see what happens over the next 48 hours, but it feels like from my seat, the Padres dodged a massive bullet by New York rolling over in game 2, and they still nearly won the game. It was 1-0 in the 8th inning.
And that was the team I said I was the most scared of to face in the first round.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
They are dangerous. But, again, the next time the Padres would have to worry about the Mets would be in an NLCS. So
next time the Padres would have to face the Mets would be in NLCS.
Yeah. So
I'm not overly concerned. I'm not. In fact, if they get to the NLCS, great. I don't care who they play. That's a great year.
Braves lineup tonight, John,
Yeah.
which is to me still scary. Michael Harris, the second, leading off. Ozzie Albies at second. Marcelo Zuna's the DH. Matt Olson's at first. Jorge Soler's in right. Ramon Laureano's in left. Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate. Gio Urshela is playing third. And Orlando Arcia's at short.
Yeah,
So
it's Marcelo Zuna. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like who scares
the middle of that lineup is still formidable. Ozzie
agree.
Albies, Ozuna, Olson, Soler.
But Ozuna is the guy that has had the season and could back it up.
Yeah.
He's the guy with the 100 RBI,
30,
900
home
OPS.
runs. Yeah.
Like he's just the guy that's been consistent and has produced. And maybe he's coming out of his prime a little bit, but he is a guy that's fully capable of turning a series on its head, is what I would say.
And Michael King has pitched very well. He has a 1.57 ERA, or he's a 1.5 something ERA in September.
Right.
He's been the Padres' most consistent pitcher. We talked about this last night on the wrap-up show. He had a problem giving up home runs in the start of the season, and he has cut down on that by a lot. I mean, I think this year total, he's given up 17 home runs. I think like 8 of them were like in the first month of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been pitching well. I know that, as Marty said briefly before we couldn't hear her, it shouldn't be a surprise because of how they view Michael King. By they, I mean the Padres, and just how well he's pitched this season. So, yeah, man, I'm ready to go. I mean, we're about 20 minutes from first pitch, and I'm
You're
ready.
ready?
I'm ready for this freaking
series
to start.
It was December 6th when the Padres traded Juan Soto. December 6th, kind of. We had learned the passing of Peter Seidler. Bob Melvin had left.
Yeah.
Mike Shildt had been named manager. Then you learn about Juan Soto, who 2 years earlier was, potentially a guy that was going to lead the Padres to the top, and he was out the door.
Yeah.
Padres proceeded to lower their payroll by roughly $100 million. And here we are a year later, and the Padres are inarguably much better than they were in 2023 and potentially one of the best teams in the history of the franchise here in 2024. And it was Michael King that headlined the return. We heard from the Yankees they wouldn't move off King. That's what we heard. They did move off King. What they said was actually accurate with the benefit of hindsight, which is his upside's real. He's a more than capable frontline starter in the major leagues. And that's how it's turned out. He's been a frontline, fully capable, under control, controllable starter for the Padres that inconceivably December 6th a year ago started the postseason for the Padres.
If you said, hey, Jim, Michael King is going to start game 1 of the wild card series here at Petco Park after that trade went down, I'd be like, are you serious right now?
Did they play a triple-header the day before?
Did Joe Musgrove get injured? Did Yu Darvish get injured? Like, what's going on here? And if they got injured, how the hell did they make the postseason?
Right.
So, just an incredible year. And truthfully, will go down as one of the crazier trades where both teams benefit in such a big way. Like, the fact that you had the Yankees last year only win, I think, 82 games, same as the Padres. They make this big-time blockbuster deal in the offseason. Juan Soto's the main piece. And then both the teams next year win 90-plus games. One wins their division. The other one's hosting a wild card series at Petco Park, and everyone's picking them to win the World Series.
Yeah.
Wild. I could have not have imagined that at the time of that trade.
Remember yesterday when we were freaking out about the Mets-Braves being one of the most iconic games like in regular season recent history?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You know how many people watched that game?
2.2 million.
1 million.
That's it?
1.0.
Well, you know why? It's because they put that thing on ESPN too.
It was also on the afternoon.
They did something that I was like, well,
game 1 was on ESPN.
I thought that was on ESPN 2 because I saw the Pat McAfee show.
Too, right.
So my thing was when I saw that they were on ESPN 2 yesterday, and they had the Pat McAfee show on ESPN, their big network, right?
Yep.
That tells you all you need to know about how ESPN feels about
baseball. And yeah, I read something interesting actually today saying ESPN may try to opt out of their deal with Major League Baseball.
I mean,
that's another conversation
right.
about the long-term media prospects of Major League Baseball, but 1.04 million viewers.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Which,
again, I could give,
I know, but it's just, again, it just speaks to kind of like how it resonates so much in a market. But for whatever reason, I'm sitting there enamored last night or yesterday by Atlanta, New York.
Well,
there's more people watching Central Michigan.
You know what, though, John? Here in San Diego, guess how many people will be watching the Padres?
Well, it's different. Padres is different. But I'm saying like a game not involving the Padres. All right, on the other side, we continue to get you ready here from the Naughty Barrel here until 5:30, happy hour until 6 p.m. Padres and Braves, game 1 coming up on this gorgeous day for baseball in San Diego coming up in 20 minutes. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it is Schaefer, and I've been telling you about my friends over at Loan Pronto, and lower mortgage rates are finally here thanks to the Fed and Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59%, the lowest rate in 2 years. And whether you got stuck with your loan in the last couple of months or within the last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate fast with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, so get started. Use this opportunity to get cash out and wipe out your credit cards. You can do a cash out refi and get 50, 75, 100K or more out of your home. Use that to pay off all your high interest debt and end up with just one low monthly payment. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well. So call now. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. VA Streamline loans are also available with Loan Pronto. Call 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Baseball's postseason is underway, and we're live at Naughty Barrel previewing the action with the Fanatics. Now back to Jon and Jim.
All right, final time, Naughty Barrel, where happy hour is underway and going until 6. If you don't have tickets tonight, make your way to the Naughty Barrel and watch the game. On your way out of Petco tonight, get over to the Naughty Barrel, 9th and Market. It couldn't be a nicer day. 74 degrees, sun beginning to set. Sunny skies overhead for Padres and Braves game 1 of a 3-game series. Now, Jim just saw something that in the history of the 3-game format, which is 8 wild card series in 2020, that was an atypical postseason because of the pandemic, and then 4 best-of-3 series in 2022 and 4 best-of-3 series in 2023. That's 16 series. The game 1 winner is 14-2 in the series. The two to buck the trend, Padres in 2020 when they lost the Cardinals, and another team.
I don't know the other team.
Nobody cares. But today we have seen 3 road winners.
Yeah.
Which means those road winners now heavily favored to win the series based on game 1 winners being 14-2 in wild card rounds.
I mean, the Mets, what they have done, one of the scariest teams you could probably face. Glad the Padres don't have to face them in the first round here. Same thing with the Tigers. Tigers, incredibly scary because they just somehow find ways to keep winning. AJ Hinch has done a fantastic job there. And they also have the Cy Young Award winner out there throwing up zeros. And then today, the Royals taking down Corbin Burns. My boy Bobby Witt Jr. drove in the only run of the game. Royals go up 1-0. I don't even know if Waka pitched today. I don't think Waka pitched today. I don't think Waka started for the Royals. But, yeah, man, it just shows you how important game one is because right now I'm looking at the teams that lost today in the wild card round, and I'm like, oh, man,
they could be done.
If I was that team, they're in trouble.
Well, they're all underdogs. I'm looking at video from inside Petco Park right now, and this is about 17 minutes out, and the place is full.
Of course.
So 17 minutes out, the place is completely full. They will announce 47,000 plus. Gallagher Square is like packed in like sardines.
It's on top of each other.
It's going to be. I mean, you think about some of the great moments here in recent San Diego sports history, and you're thinking back to that 2022 postseason. I'm thinking back to a 2023 Final Four run as well for San Diego State. But you go back to 2022, it was special inside that building. We've been here all afternoon. I've been downtown for 5 hours. So is Jim. I've seen 2 Braves jerseys. I saw one in the 1 o'clock hour. I saw one in the 2 o'clock
Literally
hour.
2.
I saw 2. I did. So, there'll be a couple hundred Braves fans inside the building. There's going to be 47,000 Padres fans. What's that worth? We'll find out. So far in the postseason, home teams are 0-3. What's it worth here in San Diego? We'll see.
We'll see. Again, lineup tonight for the Padres is the same lineup that it's been for the last couple weeks here. Luis Ariz leading off with Tatis in right, Profar, Manny, Merrill, Bogarts, Cronenworth. Solano's your first baseman tonight, and Higgy's behind the plate. The Braves are throwing out a lineup that still is a very good lineup, even without Ronald Acuna, which they haven't had him like most of all season. Michael Harris, Ozzie Albies, Marcelo Ozuna, Matt Olson, Jorge Soler, Ramon Laureano, Travis d'Arnaud, Gio Urshela, and Orlando Arcia. Still a good lineup. They won 89 games. So.
It is a good lineup. And here's the thing. Typically, betting lines are determined based on starting pitching, and the Padres have the starting pitching edge. We've talked about it at length over the last 48 hours, and that's why the Padres are, according to Vegas, a minus 190 favorite, which is a heavy 2-1 favorite here tonight. But even 2-1, what do I like to say? You're not getting on a plane that doesn't land 33% of the time. So that's where you are. The Padres are a heavy favorite, but 2 out of every 3 is not 3 out of every 3. Should they win tonight, Joe Musgrove would be pitching for a series tomorrow at 5:38. Should they win tonight, Joe Musgrove would be pitching for a series win tomorrow. And by the way, as a refresher, as long as this series is played, we will be here at the Naughty Barrel 3 hours or plus before first pitch. And there were so many people here today. This was an incredible spot to be before game 1 of the postseason. It's going to be just as good, if not better, tomorrow, I would imagine, when we're back here.
Especially if they can go for a clinch.
Especially if they win tonight.
Yeah, if they win tonight, tomorrow will be just as electric, maybe even more. But if they lose tonight, tomorrow, there'll be a lot of nerves in that ballpark. And there'll be a lot of nerves here on Jon and Jim, and a lot of nerves here at Naughty Barrel. It won't feel like the same atmosphere, maybe, as we felt today. Today was like, it was great.
It was amazing.
It was a great, table setter.
Celebrating, yeah.
So, not to the point of like, oh, we're winning the World Series,
but
excited because, the Padres have a damn good baseball team and they have a really good chance to do something special here in October.
You like this format more than what they used to do, the 1 game, 4 against 5, 1 game to move on? I do a lot.
Yeah.
And even 3 not kind of scares me. It scares me.
It's just a 3-game series, and that's why the first game is so important. And the 1-game series to me,
I hated the 1-game series.
Yeah, it's just man, 3-game series I think is perfect. It's good, and also it kind of, we'll see what happens in this postseason, but so far it's played a disadvantage to the teams that get the week off.
That's true. Find us tonight on YouTube. We'll react to it all following game 1. Search for the wrap-up show on YouTube. We'll react probably around 9:30 tonight to Padres and Braves game 1 of this 3-game series. Then we're back here tomorrow at 2, the Naughty Barrel 9th and Market. Join us. We'll be here all afternoon long, getting you ready for game 2. If you missed anything today, go to sports.com. to radio or Spotify. I want to thank everyone involved today. Manny Valencia, fighting off a cold, our engineer downtown. Thank you, Manny. Brent Sperry back in the studio. For Jim, I am John. Padres and Braves coming up in 10 minutes from inside Petco Park. We'll see you tomorrow and tonight on YouTube. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Peace out. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Go Pods.